Okay, guys, we're actually back. We're live. We're with Kevin Jodary and Dale Rook. Take it away, guys. Just have a chat and see where you go. Kevin's a little hungry, so he's going to be nibbling.
Oh yeah, there you go, brother. Get the munchies. There you go.
I
Right.
do. I ate so much last night at the party that I didn't have anything this morning. So I was trying to balance out like how much food I was packing in my body at one time.
Oh,
Man, the after party last night was nice. They did a wonderful job. They had a company, this guy named Chris I met. I can't remember his brand, but he put on a really killer catered event, for like connections, for like B2B connections.
mm-hmm.
And it was at this multi-story spot where you had like 5 floors of a club.
Yes.
And so it was cool because it created like these little natural segregations, and then you would immigrate from floor to floor to go check out what was going down.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job. I like to grow up though, man. The one I did in 2019, I was just super impressed with like the diversity of the people at the event. Meaning you had, all like professional business, but the quality of the people in terms of their like craft appreciation was there. So it was far more community minded business emphasis versus business minded and then trying to figure out how to form a community.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
So it's all about community, caring, sharing, and community. And we're here at the Grow Up because of that community. And we're all coming together to raise the community and raise the awareness of this plant and plant medicine in general.
You're doing a good job. Like the quality of the speakers. I was just on a panel, and the 3 gentlemen I was speaking with were all retail operators.
Yeah.
And one of them was, I think, a vertical too, where they produced and grew. And all of them was sharp, smart, good guys. I met a bunch of girls from different operations here too. That girl last night that had that strawberry jam. She owns an operation, does the rosin extraction.
Right.
And just quality products, smart people. It's just nice to see the evolution of the industry in those regards. The transition was so difficult and punishing for most that it made it depressing.
Oh, definitely.
That's just the reality of it. But when you get to see, some survival and you see the quality of the people that they did pop through, it just makes it kind of feel good. You're happy for them.
Well, exactly. And you've been helping a lot of people globally, come through the transition going from, the legacy market into the legal market globally. How are you finding that on a global scale in comparison to what the U.S. and Canada are doing?
It's interesting because, we're relatively new to cannabis, globally. So the United States and Canada have really the shortest history in cannabis because we're the most northern groups that are really working with it, except like, the northern portion of Asia. But because from what we understand, cannabis originated in Asia, the plains of Mongolia, it moved northern and into those regions easily because it was just in migratory patterns. But it took a really long time for us to get cannabis, into the Americas, and then all the way up to where we are. So Colombia, South America's got centuries over us.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because we're like this global powerhouse of the cannabis world, but we kind of understand it the least. We don't have it woven into our society in any normalized manner. And so to see these other countries, what you're really trying to do is not change what they're doing, but change how the product is moved so that the work that they do, which has been developed for centuries and is a reflection of the reality of their production zones. So if you're working in the jungles of Colombia, you have limitations and you have things that are just impossible to achieve anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to identify those things, and then you try to figure out how do you bring insight into moving it globally and developing the markets and protecting and preserving the cultivators' cultural styles of what they do because they're adapted to a reality that you can't get around. And that's what's really kind of cool because for us, it was, illegal cultivation that then got hammered into legal.
Yeah.
And a lot of these other nations, they're trying to understand better, how do you actually work with the indigenous?
Yeah.
And it's just a more gentle approach.
Yeah.
So I really like doing some of the stuff I'm doing because it's just very different than the way we approached it.
Yes, and now are they have a much better opportunity to move into a something that's a lot better than what we have now, actually, because the laws need to change here as well. Are they going to be able to basically turn around, look at our model, make it better, and come out better to start with in some of these countries?
Yes, they because you've already made the mistakes and the successes, so there's a map to follow. So like
Yeah.
for us, we're blazing this trail. But if you go back to '96 when California first legalized cannabis
Yeah.
for medical use, to me that begins really the modern world of accepted cannabis publicly.
Yeah.
And so if you take a look at that, you can see how it was all prescription only, how it was qualifying conditions, how you had some very strange loopholes on how to operate. Once you understood that it went from there and then progressed, and you're able to understand that, then you're able to take a look at any of the systems that are modern because they all mirror basically that same fundamental construct.
Yeah.
So what you're able to say is, hey, this is where we started and this is where it ended up. And so
Yeah.
we have data to show, because for business and science and regulatory, they need to see something of proof to make a decision because they can't trust intuition because they
Yeah.
don't have any in this particular topic.
Yeah.
And their feelings are typically negative because most were educated in that manner.
Yeah.
So because we can use existing data and say, hey, this is what happened here, we can show them, and it allows them to be able to steer their decisions better. And at the end of the day, what you really want to see is these countries that have been producing product, countries like Morocco, Pakistan, Afghanistan, been producing product for millennia. How do you continue that culture of production and not change what they're doing, what they're using,
Yeah.
but change how it's handled after they harvest it and how it's then distributed?
Yeah.
That's where the assistance needs to be. And so when you can put it all together like that, it creates a really, positive future. So I'm really hopeful for a lot of them because at the end of the day, I think you're seeing people realizing you can't step on the worker and succeed.
That's right. Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
if the grower's not willing to grow, because it's the farmers that is the most important person in the garden, and the companies have to realize that that's where you're going to get your quality from. John, just grab a mic from behind you there, brother, and we'll make sure that it's turned on. So talk into it for a second. Okay.
Number. I got this one.
Okay.
That one worked.
Okay. I just had to turn you up, John. So, John, you met Mr. Jodary before, or you haven't met Mr. Jodary much?
More or less, we sat down and had dinner last night. Pretty well.
Oh, well, there you go, right? So we're talking about the overall global interest and how it's going, the laws are going to change and maybe be better starting in other countries, learning from what we've done in Canada and the Americas. What do you think is going to happen, John? You think it's going to be better for these other countries coming into it now?
Well, I think as the Avenger team and the people that are sitting at panels and the people who are at this event here can really make an impact around the world
Oh, yeah.
in a huge, profound way. And what we're doing here right now is we set the standard or a stage for the world. And setting that stage platform is what Kevin's been working on, what a lot of people here at the event's been doing, and really seeing people like Rob and Randy and just really looking how the change is happening here and just seeing what's happening with the countries and what we're looking at. And really, what I was talking about yesterday, I mentioned this today, is looking at like water activity, looking at standardization, setting a world standard where we keep this product fresh, so people are able to enjoy the full entourage of the plant and not be robbed of not having the terpenes or just there's a lot of stuff that is happening. It's to give you a true experience from the plant. And what's happening here right now is being able to set that standard and that experience that people are really needing to enjoy. Is this next steps and what Kevin's talking about, this standardization, this way of being able to actually access cannabis that has got some education behind it. I can get education on what kind of steak I want to eat. I can get education on what kind of tomatoes I want to eat.
Yeah.
They're going to tell me what cut it comes from and how I'm going to eat it and how to cook it. But with cannabis as a medicine, they don't want to give us anything, and you can't talk about it. So that has to change now. That's the most important part. It's really the education and being able to profoundly be able to identify the cannabinoid plants, the strain specifics, the lights that are actually growing. Is the growers that know the strains and spent years in understanding
And
genetics,
developing them. Yeah.
developing it. It's like not popping a seed and next year having a seed company. This takes years. It takes knowledge. It takes passion.
Yeah.
And with passion, we create these strains and this other stuff. You know, people are creating things not out of passion. They're just trying to create, but the passion is what's changing this world. And that's where we are right now, the passionate ones. Thank you, Rob, for sitting here.
They told me to join, and I figured I knew two of the three, and met two of the three, and well, three of the three today, and 4 to 4 now, and here we are. I couldn't agree more about what you said about the passion.
You know, it's what's growing here. Look at this industry, and I love this industry, and I love saying it because I get to say it again, right? I mean, it's we're in every ecosystem. We're in every part of this country, every part of this world.
Every religion.
We're in every religion. We're in every religion, and we're our own religion on top of that. And they say there's people that lead successors. You know, there's the Catholic Church and the Hells Angels, and there's the cannabis community. We're in every country, we're in every religion, we're in every language, we're in every race, we're in every age group. We're the most powerful and the powerful force that we have as in a group of this community around the world, that energy and how we can grow forward. Come on, guys, it's the passion that makes us grow. We fight more for World Cannabis Day than we do for world peace. It meets our 6 human needs. It gives us certainty. It gives us uncertainty and variety. Back then it was going to jail and locking down. It was the really uncertainty and variety was over the top. But now it's the strains and the flavors and what's going on. That significance when we have that plant and when we're actually growing it, the love and connection that we get with them of one another.
Yeah.
And the growth from the plant is just so profound. It makes us grow. When we grow it, we want to contribute. So out of those 6 human needs, 2 of them are your spirit needs that we need to grow and contribute. And with that, when you meet all your 6 human needs, you never want to leave your wife, because we're all men here, and you never want to leave that plant that helps you so much. And that's what makes this plant so powerful. And that's what makes this community so powerful. That energy in that community, and when you look at it, we're the most powerful, biggest ecosystem in the world.
Yeah. And we are global, and without that being global, we'd have more of a problem getting this plant medicine into the hands of the people that need it.
But we look at United Nations law in 1961 and REACH found in 73, then in 2028, we look at it's for medical purposes.
Yeah.
And we look at this recreational, that it's a medicine. It's a fuel. It's a food. It's a fiber. It's our medicine. This plant is.
But they minimize it on purpose, though. It's still the propaganda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what like you discover when you travel. The one commonality you find is people in general that are smoking herb are usually pretty cool. If there was one commonality among it, is that for the duration of this transaction, usually it's a really pretty positive situation.
Yeah.
And that universality and that commonality is what's not allowed to be seen, and it becomes competitive. So instead of saying, the Colombians are going to come in and create product and succeed and develop a successful world for their people, it becomes the Colombians are going to have 41% of the world's extract market, and you need to fear them. So instantly you're polarizing the success of them against the failure of you.
Yeah.
And so it's already been created as this competition between two entities, instead of the reality that all of us have a lane.
Yeah.
And the lane is this. This is like when I look at overhead photos of like Chinese highways. There's like 50-lane freeways.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's us. We're the 50-lane freeway. You have so many different potentials and so much space that you're really not having to compete in the way that they're artificially constructing.
Yeah.
That's well presented, Kevin. Like, what do you want to acknowledge? Like, that's exactly where we are right now. Like, it's going to change. It is changing the world.
Oh yeah,
1,000%. Like, if we really look at the plant and how it's the energy and how it just connects us with the energy that we have.
And that's the thing too, right? I see it in people's faces.
Mike,
daily.
It's your mic up.
There you go. Sorry, guys, man. I just smoked this wicked pot here. It's great here.
And
anyways, I see it on a daily basis, even within my programs at home. When somebody gets their medicine, this plant has made them so happy. No pharmaceuticals, no painkillers. It's just the cannabis plant itself, right?
Well, and that's what we're really talking about, because it's more, I don't look at cannabis as a drug. I look at cannabis as a medicine. It doesn't matter if you're smoking to get high, you're medicating your body and your endocannabinoid system anytime that you consume cannabis, whether that's smoking it, whether it's an edible, in any way, shape, or form. And that's where I think we need to focus, is on the medical side and presenting that to the governments, because we need this plant. Our planet needs this plant.
We have a problem though, because we have, in order to define, you have to limit. And so the issue with cannabis is that we have to limit it to define it, and it's really almost unlimited applications because of its bioreactor capacity. So it's a medicine, but when you're wearing it as a clothing, that's not medicine.
That's
So
right.
it's the only substance that is a product, that is a food, that is like it. How do you define it? And I think that's the issue, is when you're presenting cannabis, you almost come off like you're caught up in it so much that you can't see the reality. But the truth is, it's so complex and so incredible that you can't describe the reality.
Well, and then you throw in hemp.
Past us. Yes, but it's all cannabis.
Well, exactly.
It's all
animal feed, right?
It's all feed. It's all sources. Most people that were growing heavy cannabis crops in Asia, that was food source, because the seed would be their harvest.
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't selling seed; they were eating seed.
Yeah.
And so you're using the cannabis, the key, for ceremonial purposes, make your life easier, better, more community. You're using the fiber for all the purposes. You're using it in every application possible that you can be creative with.
Yeah.
And that's where we're limited, because we segregate we separate the industry into all these separate components, which let you see the complexity of it. Yeah. But we separate them operationally, and we separate them in terms of validity.
And law.
It's what you always have, is infighting and finger pointing and who's most important and what is cannabis really about, instead of just accepting that every purpose is legitimate. Yeah. And everyone's usage of it is individual, so you determine how you want to define it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the issue, is that it's trying to get the people together to understand, at the end of the day, the rhetoric we're being fed and been fed for centuries is completely divisive.
Yes.
And brilliant, but divisive.
Yeah.
If I could speak to that.
Please.
I actually filed a constitutional challenge on May the 2nd.
Right on.
And I was one of the lawyers involved with the Vancouver dispensary test case back in 2018. But with the Indigenous case that I've got, it involves effectively, First Nations. And I've tried to raise the Section 35 existing Aboriginal rights argument. So hearing Kevin talk about the seeds and the migration of seeds from Asia and the interaction of food, social, ceremonial, and how everyone's being fit into boxes. Well, we're trying to smash some of those distinctions, because the Indigenous cross over into food, social, ceremonial, cultural. But what my thought is, it's a stretch to argue cannabis, we're growing weed and selling it out of a dispensary. But if you look at it from a seed propagation point of view, that even federal minister, Indigenous Affairs and Indigenous and Northern Affairs Minister Mark Miller, he says that Indigenous are the initial seed innovators. So, what do we need here, Johnny? Paper. But ultimately, this is where I think, what I'm excited about this case is this is where worlds collide. Oh, yes. And we use and, not but. But I'll pass it back to Johnny.
Okay, well, I think it's not an and or an or a but. I think we have to try to group it all back together the way it actually should be, instead of separating it like Kevin was talking about. If we can bring it all back under one umbrella of, this is like a tomato plant, it should be legal everywhere, and the different methods of whether you're eating it, whether you're making rope or clothes from it, it's all together, and it's in the separation that we have the problem.
Well, look, before I jump out on the last point, is what frustrates me is people aren't asking. They're like, oh, how do we legalize and regulate, as opposed to, why did we have prohibition for 100+ years? Let's look at why cannabis was associated with opium and vapes in Canada, and then put on, all of these insane restricted drug lists. So to me, it's like we haven't really got that far forward, and we're not going to continue to move unless we acknowledge and look at the big sort of bill of bullshit that's been sold to us all under the guise of regulated, legal, fair markets. And I think we have a long way to go on that front.
Yeah, I agree with that, Robin. I really can't.
Thank you for having me.
You bet, man. Thank you for coming.
Right on, brother.
Cheers, guys.
No, what he brought up was so accurate because you've gotten conditioned not to question, and so you don't ask why, because I think what it begins a slippery slope into you asking why about a lot of other shit.
Yeah, it's like the what was the transaction? When did this happen?
Yeah.
And then working through it. We don't look at the how, because that's the eternity of how, right? We got to look at the why and the what.
Yes, because that can be measured.
Yeah.
And when we take a look at it, all of a sudden it starts to raise your consciousness.
You get progress.
Well,
you measure it.
For many, they don't want it either because they already feel overwhelmed now. So a lot of times it's just easier to believe the lies you were fed than actually have to challenge the belief and go forward with it.
Yeah.
It's a much harder journey when you have to just really question everything around you versus you just accept the fact that this is how it is.
But I ask you, Kevin, I listened to you talk yesterday when we were talking, but that journey and how you get to that journey and to that point was listening how you were gaining rapport with other people in power, and you were coming in, like you say, the back door, and then coming back to them and then giving them the evidence, but not evidence, but guiding them through it, and they're like, oh yeah. And that guidance is where we're getting into that now impact, because they're seeing it.
Yes,
Instead of screaming at them, guide them towards it and show them where it's working. And this is where you guys all have this play in this role. You have that role that you can show people and how this is working for you by doing it for yourself, and the people around you see the profound difference.
Well, you don't like to be treated like that either. So if you come at me and you come at me aggressively, I'm going to become defensive over it. But if you approach me in a logical, thoughtful manner, then usually you're going to get a good response. And so I know that if I behave that way, that's what I experience. If I behave decently, normally the defenses come down and we can actually have a conversation about a topic, not about our emotional connection to the topic.
Yeah.
And that's really what's slowly beginning, is that you're starting to have normal conversations. It's just that there's pent up rage. If you've had to suffer and deal with some of this shit. Hey, with this Ron from Gold Hat.
Ron.
You have less tolerance, and you have no choice but you have to develop more. You have to make sure that you don't lose track of that there is progress and it is moving forward, and that just because it's not at the pace you want doesn't mean you have the right to really attack those that are putting it in play. Because at the end of the day, it's the opposite effect that occurs.
Exactly.
You want it to change today, but it might change in 10 years.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec.
Hey. So we've got Ron Harrington join us as well.
I was like,
and that was Jameson just stepping into the camera.
What's up, Big Ron? How you doing, brother?
Good.
Then we got Big Ron here stepping in the camera too.
Nice to meet you, man.
Good seeing you again, Ron.
So yeah, we were talking about the different laws around the world and bringing it all under one umbrella. Now, should we focus on more the hemp aspect of it to bring it under that umbrella, or should we stay with more of the psychedelic effect of it as cannabis? Because it's all the same damn plant.
Yeah, I think you have to get the two communities to merge.
Yeah,
and I don't mean under one law as much, but in terms of spiritual, where those that produce the product in any form should be able to recognize that every aspect is valid, and that we're all under the same situation. We're all farming the same plant that is overly regulated and extremely variable in how the laws are applied.
Yeah.
So if you're in hemp, and so they said the hemp, there was a loophole that said we can make cannabinoids from these cannabinoids. We can take these precursors and then refine them into this and legally fit a hole. So the DEA, FDA in US allows that to take place with no issue. So everybody goes and builds empires in that direction, and then they just decided arbitrarily, you know what, we decided from our interpretation we don't like that.
Yeah.
So they shut it down. And so every time someone does something, they allow it and then they shut it down. And it's this variability in business that no other industry deals with. So how does anybody make a plan
Yeah.
And what it does, it doesn't allow you to have any long-term plans, and it doesn't allow you to ever really develop into a successful, stable business.
Yeah.
And so whether it's hemp or whether it's, drug cannabis, show me the stability. I don't see it on either side. And so that's what we really need to do is we recognize that the plant is overly regulated, and that it's only through the operators coordinating and getting together and creating their lobbying power you're going to have a voice. If all the cannabis growers in the world got together, you'd have a lot of them.
Oh, hell yeah.
A lot of them. And the ones that don't have the ability to have a voice in their country or pay, they get to be free riders.
Just thinking how much we can learn from the other countries with other growers and what their demographic.
Oh, completely. No, we don't share that. We're not sharing the
know.
knowledge, and we're not also using, like for us, what our ability is that we're a platform that we're very visible.
Mhm.
And so that visibility allows you to have a voice. And if you use the voice correctly, then you can impact the world in a different way. But you have to do it for the people that don't have a voice.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue, is that a lot of times when you have a mic in your hand, you're really advocating for your own needs. And you're not advocating for those that don't have the ability to get on that platform and do so. And I think that that's really the beauty of cannabis to me, is that in general, it was elegant and gentle and tender. The plant brings out those characteristics in people.
Yeah.
And enhances you as in a human way.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the essence of this situation, is that the plant as a whole does this. And what we need to do is get the people to be able to see each other. It's like the indoor-outdoor world of, who's more valid. Well, you're both cultivators. It doesn't really make a difference. What matters is that you're working towards a common goal, not what regulations are going to favor you most, but which ones allow you to develop a world that actually has a sustenance, something that can sustain. Because everything being built right now is falling down like house cards.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm looking outside of that window and I'm going to go judge some hash guys. So I'm going to come back.
Right on.
And
Okay, man.
I'll pay attention. I'm like, I see the hash just showed up and I got to go judge it.
Oh,
So
hell yeah.
You guys are awesome. I just want to, you guys out there and you guys here, but you guys out there, you rock and just keep doing it. You know what? You got some of the great information here. Use it and then take it to the next person.
Yeah.
The next level.
Appreciate all you guys.
Only us.
Yeah, Kevin, are you supposed to be judging some of that hash too, brother?
No, but I wouldn't mind smoking some.
Yeah.
Well, then, hang the mic back up, take the headset off. Thank you so much for joining us, Kevin.
Okay.
We'll keep Ron and just start talking to Ron. But, you head out and grab some of that. Oh, yeah. Just look at the look on his face, guys.
Yeah. I took a slow
Ron, what is this?
That's about 19-year-old sour diesel from New Jersey. It's the cut I've kept around.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a musky, stanky
And
girl.
it's-
Oh, you got this is the 2.5-year-old curing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so this is 2.5 years in a curing bucket. Here, Ron, that's the same strain. That's New York Sour Diesels.
What is this right here, Ron?
Same stuff. I have the ones that got seeds in it, so I.
Oh, I got you. You giving this to me?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And so this is seeded. So it's
No, there's no seeds in that.
Oh.
People wanted some seeds,
Hey,
and so I had to.
Ron,
I got you.
speak in the microphone for me.
I had to smush up some.
I got you.
bud.
I'm looking at it. So this is I can just roll this.
Yeah, just roll it right
kill
up.
I'm gonna spin that baby up.
It's 9 months old. It was from last year's outdoor.
Yeah, no, it smells.
This is from 2 years old outdoor.
Wow. Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
You're taking off too, Dale? Okay. Yeah. Your lighter?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
2 years. It holds the terps that long. You can grab some of that if you want.
Oh, this is incredible.
Yeah.
This is just 2-year-old cure. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It held the nuances too.
Yeah,
It didn't develop just like heat bond resistant.
No,
All the minors still remained.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Does it smell similar to this one? Because that's a 2.5. That's the same strain, New York Sour Diesel. Okay, you guys talk.
Yeah. It's I keep it out of the light and I keep it under 70.
Yeah. No, you can tell it's been protected.
Yeah.
It didn't oxidize, and it maintained that sharp edge. They're both rich.
When it's cured out, I just after 2 months of hanging at 65% humidity.
Yeah.
Then I just throw it in these bottles and I open one at a time. So I only use.
Totally. No, I
Yeah,
do the same
yeah.
thing too. all my personal smoke, I break it up into containers that allow me, like once I crack the jar, we're going to get into it and we're going to consume it within X amount of time.
Exactly. Or we're going to send it home with somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then what it does, it just lets you have micro batch. So I do all my stabilization. I got a space at my spot that's refrigerated so that I can, once I dry and stabilize, I can then throw it up there and keep it at like 65.
Yeah.
And then that 60 at that 62 the humidity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just let it sit till it's absolutely prime.
Right.
And then I can
It's almost better, isn't it?
oh
Now-
man, it's
after-
always better stabilized.
It is.
It's broader. You get like a sharper, louder front end when it's fresh, but you have no breadth, no
Yeah.
width to
No
the
back end.
profile.
Like,
yes.
it tastes one way on the way in
And
and
nothing
another
on
way
the,
on
yeah, and what I want is I want to have this massive complexity going in and out both ways. And I want it to surprise me every single time with another little layer or another little detail. And you only get that from really properly stabilized herb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't pull that off with anything that's got limonene or citrus.
No, they fade out too quick.
Yeah, they never hold the thing. So I've just given up. I'm not going to breed citrus anymore.
Yeah, no, piney's earth profiles, the stuff like traditional hash plants.
Yeah.
That type of product, it cures well. It cures well if you're able to hold it. To me, like hash plants cure better if you hold them as hash.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
some of the like the Mexican stock, the Colombian stuff,
Right.
that shit, when you let it age a bit, boy, it opens
Better.
up crazy.
Hazes too.
Woo!
Yeah.
And the high becomes absolutely hypnotic.
Yeah, it is.
It just takes you into this void and you drowning in it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and no COA would ever reflect that.
No.
No,
Yeah.
it's intangibles that we don't look for in the lab.
Yeah, you go to buy Tangerine Dream, and if it's been on the shelf for 3 months, you've just bought a bucket of hay.
Yeah,
You know,
all the nuances are gone.
Yeah, this stuff here, they could have it for 6 months at the store till it sells, and when the final user opens it up, they go, "Hey, this is nice."
Exactly,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you've done all the stabilization work
Yeah.
prior.
Yeah,
Once I call it like locking in the quality. Once you lock the quality, and it's hard to screw it up because you can even warm the herb up, but once you've locked it in, that exterior seals almost like you're making cheese or smoked meat,
yeah.
and the interior remains constant, like just a good hash.
You can ruin good weed too.
Oh, yeah.
dry it quick.
Just dry quick.
Yeah,
You-
exactly.
You prep it right early, man. The holdability is radically different.
Yeah,
And I think that those are the things that are missing in the world because we want it for everything, but really people have to be able to pay for that extra handling, and so it's only a limited group that can afford it. And it's a bummer because everybody deserves really good pot.
yeah. Here in
Yeah.
Canada, it's not set up that way though. They got to buy through the AGLC. And
Yes, you have no
they-
control.
They have no control, and there's no nuance. And then if they find something good, I guarantee you, the LP that's growing it doesn't have any more of it, right? Because they're just not keeping up with it.
Yes. No, you have there's no ability to have consistent supply here reliably.
Yeah.
It's a lottery for the operator.
Yeah.
Our situation is, you start to work on the land of hype, and all of a sudden everything's really pretty similar. So you start homogenizing the gene pool you're working with, and then pretty soon everything is kind of similar, and not just in flavor and taste, but in high.
Right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's a
Well, and that's why you
diversity.
formed the Gangier, is because you want to actually educate the consumer, as well as the grower, in what is a quality bud, what's it supposed to look like, what's it supposed to taste like, what is the terpene profiles in it. When you break it open, what's inside that bud is almost as important as what you're going to see on the outside of that bud. It's not just the trim. It's not just what they call bud porn. It's what's inside that. What's the, did they grow too long? Did they dry it too fast? Like, the guy's doing it in the oven, in paper bags, and, microwaves. Now we have the ability and the knowledge, because we're gained the data points to know where it's the right consistency of moisture inside of the cannabis. Like John Berfelo, he hung it dry for 6 months at 65% humidity, and that stuff's just pure, like it's still gooey. As long as you keep that humidity, right? And the temperature and humidity is everything. When you can leave bud in a room, if you can keep that perfect humidity, it'll stay there for years and just remain perfect.
Truth. It's just that the effort required to do so, and the time it takes to hold, and all these little details that make craft, you're lumping everything into a common product, so that we're using some simple metrics to sell products, and it completely ignores these realities that in no other industry does one focus on one data point to validate quality. And so the Ganjier was an attempt to standardize how we look at a product so that you're able to use common language.
Yes.
And then common evaluation and grading ability, so that when we say something's a 92, we can all understand it must mean that it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we can go through a form and show you how we got to that number.
Yeah.
So that way it's explainable. And what you're trying to do is it's not a lot of times when you do evaluation, people take it personal because nobody likes to be evaluated. But the pants you're wearing had to be evaluated. If they weren't graded right, they don't fit. Your shoes had to be evaluated. If they weren't right, they don't fit. And so with cannabis, it's the same thing. It's to evaluate it, but it's to say, where does it fit? And so there has to be this quality price matrix that says herb that didn't go through all this extra care needs to be priced accordingly. And that is the reality. It should be clean. If you don't have money, you shouldn't be forced to smoke hay pot, and you shouldn't be forced to smoke dirty pot. At the level of production they're creating today, there's an ability to create volume-based cannabis that works for pretty much most people's needs.
Yeah.
And then when you get into specialized needs, or you get into very discriminatory palates, well, then the sky's the limit. But to me, there should be this ability for regular individuals who live normal lives to get herb that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to smoke trash. And I've seen it my entire career that especially with medical, the most needy get the worst shit.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And so that, to me, that's a sin, and it's not needed. And over time, hopefully that straightens out. But what you're able to do with the Ganjier is provide education on how to look at things, and then you're able to explain it in a way that helps them understand, maybe where they go wrong.
Yeah.
So that you can make corrections, and it allows you to take small farms that are doing incredible work and to publicize it. And it allows you to take giant farms that are producing okay work, but for great prices, and publicize it, because you shouldn't favor one group or another. So even though I'm a craft background, the whole industry makes an industry.
Yeah.
And so you can't polarize one direction against another. And so you just have to be able to say, hey, good is good, great is great, and this happens to be the best quality for the price.
Yeah.
And once you kind of have those divisions, you're able to really make it possible for people to make intelligent decisions.
How do we get that into the government, though, Kevin, so that we can change that?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, because remember, at the end of the day, the government's job is to get their hand on as much money as possible. And so
that's a nice way to put it.
And so whatever they do is always about revenue. It's about tax revenue. It's about control. It's about creating new industry. It's about creating new jobs. If there's going to be $1 billion industry, then they want to see 400 million in tax come off of that thing, minimum, so that they're able to really generate their needs. And anytime a new industry is created, it's created in reverse. So I learned from my work that when new industries are being born, the political groups and regulatory groups get together and say, wow, this looks like a new industry. How much do we need to let it succeed is really based off of how much tax money they want to generate. So the tax money is what they build the industry from. So if we want to make $1 billion in tax, we have to have an industry that generates X amount to give us $1 billion.
Yeah.
That lets you know how many storefronts, how many production facilities, how much distribution, all these things come as a result of that. Not let's create an industry and then tax it. Let's create the tax first and then build the industry.
Yeah, it's like giving the fleas control over the dog.
Yes, and literally what it is.
How many fleas can we park on this dog before it drops dead?
Exactly.
And they run it hot.
And they run it till that dog is on his hands and knees, and there's no mercy. And the only way that you can scrub it off is to go get yourself into a flea dip.
Yep.
And then you can kill them off a little bit, and that's usually bad decisions they make, and it replaces the political parties at bay.
After the dog dies, then
after the dog dies, they dip it, and then the people are gone, and then the next group comes in, and they start the process anew. And so I think it's a really difficult one. I think that my opinion on this, and it's just mine, is that masses of people change things more than any.
Yeah.
You have to yell loud enough that you frighten the politicians with issues at the polls.
Yeah.
That if you really want to make change, you have to understand that the primary goal of a politician is to get reelected. So the minute they get in office, when they're trying to take office, primary goal to be elected. From that minute forward until they die, their job is to stay in power. They do not go. If you look at Dianne Feinstein, right, out of California, I mean, they have to wheel her in, and nothing against being in a wheelchair, but when you can't remember where you've been for the last 3 months,
Retire.
and you're still making decisions for a state and for the nation, you realize that the nation's and the state's interests are not in your mind because you're definitely not cognizant of what you're doing at this point.
Yeah.
So if you just take a look at what's happening, you can clearly see this. And the only way that you can get this to happen is to get enough people yelling loudly enough to where it makes them have to listen because the polls scare them. And that's something that's really difficult because you got to get a lot of people to get together to go do this. And when you get people separated and you get them struggling financially, it's hard to put in that extra effort. So it's hard to get people to rally when they're getting the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah.
But it's when you're getting shit kicked out of you that you have to rally.
Well, you got to come together as the community
You have
because
to.
the more voices, you know, you're going to be able to change laws. It's people that change the laws. We just have to stand up in enough volume of people to force them to actually change the laws.
Yes. What is this package you just gave me?
The black.
Tell me about it.
Here, I'll tell you what I'll do even better.
Dale, speaking to the microphone, please.
Oh, sorry about that. So you can get all the information. I brought it up. It's much easier than something to, to talk to you about. That's for sure. But man, I've had so many questions. But you know something? Every time you start talking, you answer the goddamn thing right then and there. So,
So what is the block?
I'm going to sit here so quietly, even though I've got many questions. But it's incredible. And what I've done here is I went to my bank a couple years ago and I brought out something that I haven't seen in a long, long time. What I'm pretty much doing is giving it to those, add it to your collection, because most people don't have this strain. And it's called the Black, brought out by BC Bud Depot in the late 80s. It's just one of my old genetics that I have, right? I've been collecting them all my life, so I just wanted to share it.
Oh no, about it, man. I would love. I'll crack these things out and see what they do with it in Southern Humboldt.
There we go.
Yeah, no, about it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Been a long time since I've been up there. I started growing over there in '77, and just in from Arcata.
Yeah. Were you in Neeland?
No, right in Arcata.
Right in
We
Arcata.
were just like going over towards the Trinity River area.
Yeah.
Out the back way, and we were growing in the bush there. That's where we used to cure. We would actually harvest it and hang it out there. It would be hanging for like a while till it's kind of dry, and then we'd move it into town, and it would be in houses. It's like it was.
It was the day.
It was a day. Yeah. 10 packs. What's a 10-pack, man? We got trash bags stacked. You can't even get in this room. It's got so much herb in there. And we'd had like big 50-gallon trash bags of Bud Shake. And it was just something.
I know, but when you go outside, you can just grab a quick hoot. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
You don't have to roll a joint, man.
Oh no, nice.
By the end of the night, man, you're gonna have smoked so much fucking pot that
Yeah. No, once we're done with this interview, we'll go out and we'll blaze.
Oh yeah.
I'll go smoke with you.
I'm hoping I'd like to see everybody start growing their own. Like I spent a long time with a seed company working with seeds that you can put in the ground in the fall, and you can come back and it won't freeze. I've got cold tolerance to -8°C. So I can grow. I got plants that are up this big right here that I planted last year, and they're up. They're already up like this, and we've been frosted a month ago.
Yeah,
incredible. No, me too. That's what I always wanted, was that everybody grew their own herb.
Grew their own.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out what to do. But once you get everybody smoking and growing their own grass, what you have is a diversity in the product that's supernatural. And to me, that was the heyday of the world. The best time I had in cannabis, in terms of like seeing the picture, was that late 80, early 90 in California, when everyone that was in the hills still had their own family line.
Yeah.
And it was the last of that super diversity. They found something that worked for them because the market was big enough to take the product, and they did a good enough job. They always able to sell it. So it validated the choice.
Yep.
And so what you had was each family choosing their own direction and expression. And it was never as good as that to me, because there was this moment when it was, fully maximized financially. So the money was at its zenith, which then funded everybody to be unique.
Yeah.
And because you could be unique, you were. And it was this golden moment. Then you get into you get into that end of the end of the 90s into 2000, and you start getting into like branded names, because the magazines started really like hyping a product.
Yeah.
And once they started hyping a product, everyone started to gravitate towards a product instead of a diversity of products.
Yeah.
Because those seeds, you couldn't buy it from a seed bank.
Nope.
And if they were growing outdoor, well, then there was no sense to advertise you lights and nutrients.
Yeah.
So they ignored that group too. And so the magazines changed the perception of the world's view on herb just as much as legality did, or the illegalities and what could be produced, what you had to do to go indoor. So it's been a wild ride, but at the end of the day, I want to see people growing their own weed.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. We'll just let Kelly sit down. Josh, if Ron moves... Ron, if you want to move over, we can get Josh on the back chair. We got 6 headsets. We got 6 microphones. Oh, I don't know who's...
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
There we go.
And let's see here. We got a number. That's number 1. That's supposed to be yours, Ron. And what number? That's Josh's. That's number 2. This would be Kelly's. I know they're really fancy. Just flip this one that way, and there you go. And there should be a headset over there for you as well.
What I'm worried about is when it goes national legal, that's going to take the whole apple cart and flip it over again, and then they'll have to redo everything again from banking to state legalization to the whole thing.
Well, you know something, brother? I can tell you the laws are loosening up big time. Big time. You know, in Vancouver, Thornton Park, when I rolled that big-ass joint, the cops posed with it. 2 cops posing, another cop taking the picture. They were fist-bumping these guys on the rolling team. They were our security. They did nothing. And yet we had 65 pounds of pot in a public park and about to light it. To the point where Vancouver City Council came back and said, why don't you come back next year, sanctioned in Concord Park?
And what are we expecting? About 85 pounds plus in for next year? You guys should cut them down for 420 next year. I think we got some music entertainment. I don't know if you can actually say anything yet, Dale.
Not yet, but all details will be released soon on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 185-pound joint.
We're going to need some help filling that.
Oh, it's like weight, man. I didn't say the weight.
Oh, it's like
it's beyond what you can think. I'm going to tell you that right now. A 65-pound joint was nothing compared to what's coming up, brother.
Campfire.
Las Vegas, Nevada. There'll be in the Circus Fairgrounds, a 1,000-pound cannabis joint will be erected.
1,000. You heard that right. Yeah, the Circus in Vegas.
The previous world record holder Tony Greenhand has brought together a team of people, myself included, in order to erect this 20-foot high T-Rex.
Maybe they can get these guys that are rolling up these 100 packs of pre-rolls here in Canada to take all that crap and donate it to the 100-pound joint, because they has no business being in pre-rolls. Well, here, anybody that's got any weed that's no good, it just goes right to this pre-roll factory somehow, and it's like, isn't that something?
At least it's getting put to use.
It's like, wow.
Better it could be animal feed.
See, but here's exactly what I'm going through. You look at this man's smile. Just talking about it. You look at this man's smile. It whatever. this thing has such overwhelming. It brings such overwhelming joy to
There's some
everybody
seeds in
so
there.
fast, so quickly, and man, it's just super electric. So, you know,
So, Josh, Kelly, how are you guys enjoying the day so far? You guys have been speaking. I know Kelly's been speaking already. Josh, are you speaking today?
Tomorrow. We're
Tomorrow.
doing our class tomorrow, and then also another panel
Okay,
as well.
fantastic.
Two spots tomorrow.
Okay, so Kelly, what did you talk about this morning?
Medical cannabis.
Okay, and you had Kayla, the cannabis nurse, there, I'm sure.
We did.
Yeah, I've got to
It was
get her over here too. But
Yeah.
she's a wonderful, wonderful lady. So, what
Super
are you
passionate.
guys? Yes, and that nurses program I think is very important globally. She's speaking about it in the U.S. as well now as well. Are you going to be part of that? Are you? Because like I know you were a midwife and you still are, of course, for many years. Are you going to try to get involved in that side of it as well?
Well, definitely. Right now, we're getting very involved in holding psychedelic sessions with psychedelic plant medicine.
Okay.
Because, as you know, in BC, you're allocated 2.5 grams of almost anything. And so we're working with a lab that has been licensed
All right.
for mescaline, LSD, MDMA, psilocybin. Did I forget
Ketamine.
one? And ketamine.
Okay.
And so what we're realizing is that there's this beautiful sort of gray area that we can step into and really educate quickly.
Yeah, that's what
Because
we need.
a lot of nurse practitioners and doctors are going to be able to have access to these medicines. They're going to be
Yeah.
sitting with patients in a therapeutic type session.
Okay.
And we just want to make sure that they've had the proper education
Yes.
and that they recognize the power of nature as an advocate, as the true therapist in a lot of these sessions. You know,
Yeah.
if we're just in Jackson County, Oregon, they are only allowing plant medicine therapy to happen in commercialized areas. So all of a
Okay.
sudden that discounts the ability for nature. How are we going to really unwind if we can't unwind in front of a campfire, if we can't
Yeah.
sit in nature and lie on the ground and just sort of figure it all out?
I saw the price on some of it. It was you pay like $12 for the mushrooms and like $3,500 for the treatment, and you're in some sterile ass office. And I'm laughing. I'm just like, for someone who's done a lot of mushrooms, the last place I want to be is locked inside an interior
last.
box.
You're trying to break the walls down, so you don't want to be sitting
them.
in.
Yes, but the cost was prohibitive. We all started laughing online. So I said, I think I'm too poor to afford psilocybin therapy. I don't think I can afford to pay $3,500 to do $10 worth of mushrooms.
Yeah, and here in Canada, they're even talking about those rooms that maybe on a 7th floor are going to have to be padded walls. So now they're already setting up sort of this.
I think we should put
Energy.
them in the
insanity
straitjackets.
response. It's an insanity response.
Yeah.
It's and the issue is that's how we deal with mental health in general, though.
Absolutely.
We're brutal to people that have any type of mental health issues, and there's no compassion to it whatsoever. And all it is monetization and exploitation of them.
Isn't that like what One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was about with Ken Kesey and the MK Ultra studies and everyone else? That
And
was
at the end of the day,
involved
lobotomy is what they want to give you so that you're easy and complacent and you're alive so they can continue to make the money on you. And to me, the whole point of psilocybin therapy is, I did it with my family where I had a bunch of my older relatives and I said, hey, listen, everybody's stressed the fuck out and you guys you need a reset. So I said, listen, what we'll do is we'll go do some microdose, right? And it says, we'll all do it at the house together and we'll figure out the dose. I make sure I won't knock you out. And we'll all spend the day together, high on mushrooms in the yard, chilling on the deck. And we'll do it together. So this way nobody's afraid. And it was incredible because it took some of my older relatives and let them transcend some of their boundaries.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I experienced that in that way, because usually it's like us. I've never been the emissary of psilocybin to take someone into another realm. And it was profound to see the change.
It's just the intention that goes into it. You know, a lot of us have done MDMA or mushrooms or LSD, but it's when you set the intention and you have, you know, some type of fire or some kind of ceremony, not exactly a ceremony, but some type of ceremony around it really just ascends.
But ritual, because
ritual.
what you're creating is you're creating that connection between people to say, hey, we're about to undergo something together. And it's okay. You're not on your own. And I think that's what really the problem is. Everyone is so separate right now. They don't feel that they're part of the human race. and to create a situation where you're taking someone into psilocybin world and you're segregating them, and you have someone there who's their handler,
their guide.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Not
and,
even a handler is a better word.
yeah, they're a handler, and because they're not guiding you, they're not spiritualistically tied into it, or they wouldn't be in that particular model. They don't have the qualifications. So those that went that Western medicine route, heavy, that let them get the authorization to conduct these type of things, vast majority did not spend their time really going deep into the mushroom world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't allow them to understand that you're there to support, and you're there to make the process as positive as possible for the person, so that their transformation internally is unaffected by the environment around them. You want them to be out of control, and you want someone there to make sure that they're the stabilizer.
Yeah.
So otherwise they can't freely go that far. They get afraid, and they have to be able to break through that fear barrier to go to where they need to go. And I just don't see how you do that in a clinical environment.
No, it's the difference between you're allowing space, you're holding space as a midwife, as a person who's been working in plant medicine, also death sessions for pretty much my whole entire adult life. We realize that these markers in life, when we're transcending through the veils, whether it be childbirth, whether it be death, whether it be a psychedelic experience, that has to be a space held, that you're creating your own space. You can go as wide and as vast as you want to, but that someone else there is sort of holding that space for you.
Yeah.
That's allocating, that's allowing. And we talk a lot about how these medicines can really help us with PTSD, but I would really like to say they can also cause PTSD.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really concerned now that, the standard operating procedure for these plant medicines are going to be, on the 7th floor, are going to be like, wow, now you're going to be tied to something. And how can we really truly expand if we are nature beings? And you were even talking about, the consciousness, the human consciousness. It's time now that we have this ability and this culpability actually with this plant medicine to go on to the next level, which is reaching the collective consciousness in our dream time. I would say that this time right here is not real. This is the folly time. This is when we get to have our soul in this particular body, but our dream time is the time that our soul is always in that space. It's bodiless. We're always working on those super higher levels. And plant medicine sort of takes away that veil for us to realize that this here and now is not all that there is.
Yeah.
That we're not just here to pay bills, eat food, shit, have sex, have babies, procreate, whatever it is that we do. We're here for a much higher
There's a lot more
reason.
to it.
We have a soul path.
We should be able to take mushrooms on a bee bed.
Yeah.
Like you have the hive bed where a person's just laying on top of a hive.
Yeah.
Just getting healed by the frequency of the hive and the bees underneath.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing, because it's the aromatherapy, it's the vibration, it's the heat, it's the whole experience. And you're able to ground. Like, that's where we really are missing out, all of us, on being able to ground ourselves in the society we're living in. But as a grower, anytime you have your fingers in that dirt, you're grounding to the nature, and that's what we have to bring it back to. And I think that's where we got to get out of the sterile environments and back out into nature. And I think that's one of the things that you guys are focused on. I know Kevin's always talking about the biology in the soil, growing these plants, but it's that interconnection of it all, the biology, our souls and spirits with the souls and spirits of the plants, the trees. And if we're not grounded properly, we're not right inside of ourselves.
Well, and it's a wonderful opportunity when we're working with plant medicine, because we've got a biological body, this meat suit, this temple, whatever it is that you want to call it, but then there's a soul inside of it as well.
That's who you truly are, is your soul. It's not this body.
And it's connected by this beautiful golden thread, like almost an umbilicus. Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Wow, that was awesome.
You guys have been together way too long. Yeah.
Which we've actually not talked about this, but that's awesome. It's like that connection. So when we're in the soil, we're feeding that biological body
Yes.
that soul can be within. So it's half of what we need to do here. It's half of the equation of our health and well-being.
Yeah. Well, if
And
we don't keep this skin suit healthy, we can't let our minds go to the next level.
that's
That's
right.
part of the problem. That's where the pharmaceuticals are breaking us away from who we can truly be. And that's where, like, being outside in nature and having that sunlight, communicating with these plants when you're growing them. But that works for all plants. It's not just the cannabis plant. But I find that most cannabis growers can take it to the next level because they're consuming it. And that brings you to a whole new level.
It's a higher consciousness for
Yes.
sure. The soil is an incredibly higher consciousness.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we're in it,
Even when I'm out there with my plants and it's a nice hot day and my shirt's off and I feel my skin just enjoying the vitamin D or whatever it's dumping, and if it's a little too hot, I have a Corona or two and do my little reset. It's just like magic for the soul.
Yes. Yeah.
it is. And I mean, did we get the word soil from soul? It's pretty,
Pretty
and
close.
are we human beings or are we humus beings?
I like
know,
humus beans myself.
Yeah.
I know the first time I heard that from you guys, it was like, I like that. That makes a lot more sense in a lot of ways.
And the truth is I took one look at Kev and I haven't seen him in a while, a few years, or maybe, I saw you at Unicorn last year, but I just can't even believe he's like a new man. He looks way younger. And what you said to me is I can't continue to work at this high vibration with all of this stuff going on unless I'm truly taking on my health and well-being. And you just look amazing. And it's just unbelievable. Whatever transformation that you've made has been a real dedication to your body. So then you can become a much better voice for this plant in the industry
And family member.
and
Yeah.
family member.
Yeah, truth. You gotta. Sometimes when you get caught up in the mission, you become selfless. And the problem is that you have to have some degree of selfishness, but not in a negative connotation. You must take care of yourself. And you get older and you start to realize that if you don't take care of yourself, you don't have the ability naturally to heal. And so, and I'm not looking for any kind of chemical health. So I'm trying to do this naturally. I'm trying to stay healthy as long as I can as a human being without any of these modern miracles that they're putting into people. I just want to be me. And I just realized that all I had to do is kind of return to that belief where these things are mandatory, that you're just as important as everything else you do, but in a different way where it's really about self-care and help. And then you become a better spouse, you become a better parent because the people around you are watching you take care and they're learning that that's important as well. And what we have is this crazy, because I hear people saying all the time, like you watch anything online right now and it's everybody's talking about how they get out of bed at 3:00 in the morning to go to work. And I'm laughing. I'm like, sustain that shit. Like, you're talking to us like we don't understand grind, right? And I'm like, sustain that shit. What do you do? Go to bed at 6:00 at night? Who sees you? And so, yeah, my whole family has to go to bed at 3:00. And I'm just like, stop. It has to be functional. And so there's this grind and this relentless work. And you work and you almost forget that there's this imaginary destination you're going to arrive at. And I'm just like, once you succeed at something, you realize that it was the process, not the destination.
Yeah.
And the process is what did all the work. And that we're skipping the process mentally just to get to the destination.
Yeah.
And it's burning people out. And so what you see is a level of health that's mind-bendingly bad in the US. I mean, it is horrific. People are haggard.
Yeah.
And it's not just physical appearance, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's mental, it's all aspects of health and wellness. What's up, Randy?
Randy, there's a mic and a headset there. You can join us, man. Just put the headset on, grab the mic.
Yeah.
So I'm
Welcome, Randy.
I'm trying to make
Why
sure
are you
that
being here?
the chassis that gets me where I am stays in shape.
Randy's amazing. He's been putting together this event with an amazing team, and it
Yeah.
just seems to be flowing super well. People are being able to network with other people that they may not have come across before, and we've been really enjoying ourselves. So thank you.
Yeah, great vibe. Everybody seems to be happy, and there's a true sense of community here where the the openness to talk and discuss and connect in such a relaxed environment is really how relationships are built. So salute, you did a wonderful job putting together you and the team.
Well, thank you guys for coming down. I mean, this is what it's about. It's about community, and it's not just the legacy. It's the new people that are coming out that meet legends like people I'm sitting with here. It's truly the experience. If you're a grower and you're coming to one of these shows the first time you've been here, I'd be blown away.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Just the amount of knowledge that's in this room right now, I think we could pretty much solve world peace.
And probably pretty
Most
quickly.
definitely.
We just got to get you out, and be the Prime Minister of Canada, and we got Kevin in the States to, take over the presidency. We can fix a whole lot of stuff really fast,
I don't think you could pay Kevin enough for that. I really don't. I don't even think. I'm not even the best genetic in the world. Well, maybe.
No, I'm good. The political arena is not of interest to me.
Yeah, no.
I touch it as needed to try to enact change, but it by itself, it's a corrupt, flawed system that
Yes.
it devours, I think, even the purest of individual. You're not meant to stay in power without
Giving up
force
something.
over time.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. It's there's a trade, and eventually it changes you. And I'm happy with who I am, and I'm not really looking for. I can barely control myself. I know I have no control over my kids, so I don't want to control a nation.
No, your daughter has control over you.
Oh man, the 10-year-old runs the show. God, she's just a lady boss. But I love it because that was my intention with her whole life, was to allow her to practice playing around with me, so that she always knew that she had solid base.
Yes.
Because I saw the world as frightening, and I don't know what it's like to be a woman, but from a man's perspective, we've dealt with a lot of women. I realized that the system somehow changes you, and I didn't understand what it was, and it's this recognition of their autonomy as an individual. So when they're little, you never put them in any situation that they're not comfortable with from birth.
Yeah.
In a way that is against their desire. And so what you're doing is you're empowering them to be themselves and to have their own center.
Yes.
And so in order for that to happen, it has to be at the house that they can play this game of freedom. And so you have to be the person that allows them to sharpen their sword. And we don't seem to like that as a society. What we want is this dominance, and then we want subjugation. And for me, what I wanted a daughter to be able to live her life as she chose it to be.
Yeah.
So it changed the relationship, and I'm grateful, because she grew up to be a really fantastic young girl. But holy shit, does she breaks me down. My friends laugh, man. My daughter's ruthless. She's ruthless, and so
she learned from the best, Kevin.
She's tender to me when I need it, but sometimes when I'm like, I could use a moment of tenderness. That's when you see the smile, and you're like, oh, she knows the position.
Yeah.
But it's important with your children. You want to be able to empower them. But I'd never raised a girl, and so I was afraid, because I didn't know if I was going to do a good job. And I just realized that if I allowed her to really teach me how to treat her, then that would be the education I needed, and all I had to do was support and let her really drive the relationship.
Yeah.
And it created a really good, strong individual. But it's funny because a 10-year-old girl, to me, women are born women, and men don't become men till they're about 40. And so
I've got two daughters myself, 23 and 13, and I agree with everything that you're saying. I give them their freedom. I push them. I'm the one that sort of pushes them out of their comfort zone, because other people are going to push them. And if it's going to be somebody pushing them, I'd rather be me.
Yes.
Yeah. And I agree. I've never been a woman. I don't know what it's like to live in a woman's shoes. But my daughters tell me, and I get the feedback from them. I was a single parent for years. I raised my oldest one, and she was really my best friend. So growing up, growing up, you learn a lot from them as much as you teach them.
Yeah,
you learn just as much. And I'll bring up one just quick story on my oldest daughter. So I smoked up until I was 39 years old. She was 9 years old, and I used to have this little area. I'd walk outside, have my cigarette, come back, and then carry on with my day. So she used to put little no smoking signs, but a cigarette, a sign every time I go out the door. And at one point, somebody told her that every time you have a cigarette, it takes 11 minutes off of your life.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to go have a cigarette the one day, and instead of just a circle with a cigarette and a line through it, there's a picture that she drew of her and I holding hands, and it said, "Wouldn't you rather spend another 11 minutes with me?"
My goodness.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You little bitch!" And I grounded her.
She taught you a good lesson, though, didn't she?
9 years old. I said, "Oh my God, like seriously?" And that was it. Then I quit. When I quit, it was cold turkey. I quit because I was kind of ready to quit, but that was the
Impetus.
nail in the coffin. That was like, she's right. Like, why am I smoking? It's not, cigarettes aren't doing anything for me. And it's definitely, and if it's enough for her to notice
Yes.
and have her worry about it, I don't need to create any anxiety in her about me dying because I'm smoking, right? So there's things that you do for them, and there's things that they do for you. And it's, it's a great process. And being a father of a daughter, it's always a proud time.
Yeah, exactly. You just have such a beautiful glow about you, Kelly. You're just glowing sitting over there.
I was sitting out in the sun for a while, so that's
okay.
It's not
happening.
her, it's the sun.
Okay,
She's always glowing.
Well, you better say that, brother, okay?
I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. We're really lucky because we're raising a granddaughter now. We're not raising anything.
Yeah.
We're in the presence of a granddaughter.
Yes.
And it's our first time being with a daughter as well in
We've
that
always
way.
had
We've always had boys.
Yeah, rapscallious little boys around, and their can-do attitudes, and constantly moving, and everything is broken in the whole house. Anything that you ever held dear to yourself, let go of it. Boys are here to, really challenge
Torment?
that destruction process.
Yeah.
There's creation and destruction, and both are really important, and men really hold, the masculine holds that
Yes.
energy, and now we're in sort of this very feminine little girl grandparent role, and it's so awesome.
I like all these metaphors also in how we relate to cannabis as a feminine entity,
Yes,
giving it space, understanding what it needs, giving it a sweet base,
And listening to it.
listening to it, being able to let it thrive, spreading it to the masses, bringing it to the public and to the world and everything. And it's nice when you're in line with your practices and everything, how it kind of cycles around and benefits itself and stuff. So
Exactly. Well, and I could just see teddy bears and unicorns and stuff like that, and I can just see that in your house now, where it was never like that before. So how are you guys adjusting to that, feminine attitude? Because Kelly's got a lot of feminine attitude, but a little one has a whole different level of attitude, as you know.
We do have the unicorns, and there are some stuffed animals and stuff like that, but she's still got her little specialized push bike.
Okay.
And the guys have already made her a whole flow track that she already rides down. So this child is really into G-forces.
Okay.
She's really into go fast, fast, fast.
Okay.
So
and
there's
she
not
loves soil.
And she loves soil. She wants to eat it all day long, loves to be outside with us, would rather sleep outside, is always crying to get out the door, be with the animals.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So
She doesn't mind cold water at all, like putting her in the lake or whatever.
she loves it.
When you can tell it's not to torment her, of course, but it's like just
She
be like,
loves
oh wow, you have brown fat. Everyone's talking about losing your brown fat, and that's why you do the cold dunks, is because you get this certain type of protection on you that allows you to be calm in like super cold water, and it's like a metaphor for life and everything. But anyway, she's amazing at it. She doesn't care. Spray her with a hose. She's beautiful. And Sierra, her mother, is a beautiful woman and daughter. Has been in our life for a long time, and she's part of the Snodgrass family, so she grew up in the cannabis industry as well, and the glass blowing industry.
Oh, beautiful.
And her parents and her grandfather is Bob Snodgrass, so
Okay.
huge love to the Snodgrass family. Always like a big warm place in our heart for them. So it's cool to link with that whole lineage and just move forward with like legacy amazing, influential people but we're also creating this brand new experience where we're adapting to new business and we're adapting to new life and new concepts, new ways of doing business, new ways of bringing our medicine forward. So that's what keeps it interesting. Otherwise, it might get a little bit stale. So instead of getting super bogged down with all the bummers, I think we got to just be kind of effervescent, and sparkly and just try and transform things and just do our thing anyway, or whatever it is to.
Well, that's what this
adaptable.
conference. You look at all the different vendors here and all the different technology and knowledge that is available at a conference like this. Randy, this is brilliant, man, and I can't wait for the next one in Vancouver. That's coming up in September, I think, right?
Yeah, no, Victoria is October 1st to the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're taking every year we've been adapting.
Yeah.
It's changing. What we did in 2019 is definitely not what we're doing now. The industry's changing, and as a conference, if you can't pivot, you just stay stagnant, and nothing new happens. So what we're trying to do is create. We're extending our community is what I'm doing.
Oh, fantastic!
We've always had a great community of growers. Now we're extending it to retail because I think retail hurried to get to market. We're trying to get this product out. Everybody wanted to have a retail store so that we can sell it to the community. What happens is we end up missing that connection between the retail buyer and the grower. So in a lot of cases, people open up a store. Some of them are not even, they don't smoke or they're not. They're opening it up as a business.
Yes.
And which is fine. That's why they're opening it up. But I think you need to have your bud tenders, your purchasers involved, and not meeting the salesperson from the LP. You meet the growers. You meet the one that they can tell you how they grew it, and why they grew it, and where the strain came from. And I think that's more valuable, and that's the sort of community that we're extending to now. Is to the owners, the retail buyers, the bud tenders, those type of people, not strictly from a sales point of view, but from an educational point of view. The amount of knowledge that is sitting here that any bud tender wants to learn and listen to, it's here for them.
Yes.
So it's the ones that choose to actually sit down and listen to what you guys are talking about. I think those are the ones that are part of our new community, right? Because it changes you when you listen to something that actually
knows what they're talking about.
And we want it to be. We want everyone to be successful, so we're trying to infiltrate that.
And the bud tenders that want to be in the industry, they should be here learning from you, from the speakers, and from everything that we have to offer. Because 2 years down the road, who knows what's their path is going to bring them and where they're going to end up.
Exactly.
And to be a part of this community, if that's your move forward, then that's why you should be here. It's not because I want to make money and everybody wants to make money here. I want to bring. My job is to build the community and bring people together.
Show value.
My job is to get people here. And when you're here, I've done tried to put as many networking opportunities in place that whatever you're looking for should be here, and then the rest is up to everybody else.
Well, and just like the QR code on your pass where everyone can actually log in and get the person's information right away on their phone, so you're not losing that. You're not packing a bunch of business cards. It's all on the app that you've set up.
So we've been doing that since 2017. We just never really had to use it. So now with the sampling, we've already had it in place. We just modified it a bit and then said, this is how we're using it.
Yeah.
Wonder if I'm being looked for here.
Oh, probably. You're a busy man, Randy.
Okay. Guys, I think I've got to run.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for just jumping in.
We loved it. That's what this is all about.
No, I'm making an exit myself.
Yeah.
I'm back to the crowd. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I got to go, guys.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Just put the mic in your headset on the chair.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks for everything, Randy.
Yes. Thanks, Randy.
I'm going to do the same.
Amazing.
Okay.
I think we're going to probably make an exit too.
Well, that's perfectly all right.
We haven't eaten in a while.
I
at
know,
all
I
today,
know.
maybe, and we haven't smoked nearly enough.
Well, and it's raining a little bit outside, so you
Oh,
might,
that's good. It is
Look
raining.
at
Yeah.
that.
Wow, so it's from fires to rain around here. And did you guys talk about Ron and his fires that he had on the property?
No, we did before we went live, but yeah, he almost lost it all. He actually saved his house.
So, Dale, 1 minute, send me some people.
So you guys can take off. I'll just keep talking until I get another guest to sit down with
I
me.
love
But
it.
I love you guys. Thank you
We
so
love you
much.
too. We'll come back. We'll come back
Okay.
and hang out for sure.
Yeah.
Wasn't long enough, but we saw an opportunity and we're like, hey,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna sit down. And then now I'm starting to realize, whoa, I need to smoke and something to eat.
Huge
Yes.
love to everyone out there that's watching and stuff. Always ask for organic herb.
Yes,
Because we
100%.
have people, a lot of people ask us if we want to smoke, and then we ask them if it's organic, and then they start looking left and they start looking right, and they don't know what's going on all of a sudden, and you know that it's not organic. So
That's 2.5 year pure New York sour diesel
whoa,
in living soil that
Like
I grew
Soma?
myself.
Wow.
Soma seed New York diesel, or
I got it from Cali Seeds when legal just hit Canada. Is when I actually got my grow. So that's been curing for 2.5 years.
nice one. Should we smoke some of it?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I gotta stay with the stream, but
Okay.
yeah, take a bunch.
Yeah, we just need a couple a little bit. We'll have a hit. We'll
Yeah.
get back to you
We're
on
gonna
it.
go-
You know it's going to be amazing.
Yep. Go enjoy.
We will.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken, for all that you do.
Well,
We just
thank you
know the
guys.
incredible effort that you put out into the community. It really shows.
Thank you.
And it is really helping to create a spirit of sharing. It's helping to create a spirit of everybody
Excitement.
is sort of at, different levels in their life. And it doesn't matter what level that you're at, there's always a place
Yes.
for you if you wanted to come into the cannabis sector. We're just
Yep.
really hoping that when you come into the cannabis sector that you do it with respect for the plant and the
100%.
soil and the
Yeah.
earth and the community. And then we know that there'll be more success. And you just always are waving that flag. And we just appreciate you and what
Thank
you
you.
do beyond words.
And your partner and your lovely wife.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Your
couldn't do it
biggest
Silly
without her.
Lily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to Lils.
Oh yeah, I couldn't do it without her. But thank you guys. You guys go have a enjoy
Yeah.
that. I'll just grab somebody and haul them in
You're
here.
amazing.
Okay.
Love you.
You
Thank
bet,
you.
love
Thanks
too.
for the weed.
Okay, you bet. Enjoy. Okay, guys. So we're gonna just keep going. We're just gonna. Oh yeah, and there's Josh trying to hurt himself. We're gonna switch the camera angle if I can remember which. I got two computers going here, so we'll just pull me up here. Okay, guys. So yeah, we've had significant guests come in. We've had Kevin Jodry, Dragonfly of Medicine, Randy Rowe, and of course Dale's going to be coming back in a bit. So we're just going to basically do what we have been doing and grab somebody that's walking by and get them to sit down and start talking to us. So I'm going to send one of my runners. Find me somebody to talk to. Anybody, grab somebody. So we're just gonna try to grab whoever we can grab here, and start talking. I'm gonna actually switch so I'm not in this chair at this angle. So you guys know we had a little bit of an issue this morning with the original feed, but I think we've got that pretty much figured out. But anyway, guys, oh yeah, oh that's better now. I can actually sit down and look around, make sure I've got all the equipment I need to switch screens around for you guys. So guys, I'm sorry I haven't been monitoring the chat. I see Hillbilly, I see Flora Nugs, Gina Garden, I think. I don't have my glasses, so it's a little bit away. But Self-Made Genetics, welcome guys, welcome. And I hope you guys are enjoying the content so far. And as I said, we're just going to kind of grab people as we go. We're going to be having some other people coming in. Come on in, Jeff. And you're with Packard, so just grab a headset and sit down, put the headset on, grab the mic. There should be a mic and a headset with each chair. And then you'll be able to hear me, and I'll be able to hear you. That mic for that chair. and that should be, let's see, what one headset here. That headset should come over here. Yeah. Well, just grab one and see what you can sit down. Yeah. So yeah, we are live, guys. So let's just switch our cameras back over here. So yeah, just put the headset on. You should be able to hear me talking into the mic. So we're gonna grab. Oh, I'm sure they're all mixed up already. So yeah, just grab one of the other ones if that one won't stay together. Yeah. Okay, and there's a microphone for you.
Mic check.
And you're there. Okay. Nicole, can you hear us? Okay, then just grab a microphone. So, guys, who are you guys? You got a Monday Pass, Jeff Packard and Nicole Packard. So tell us a little bit about yourselves and why you came to GrowUp today.
We're small-time YouTubers.
Oh, fantastic.
We're just come to film our experience here and document what someone may see if they come to a conference. We're
Okay.
trying to get everybody in the booth to talk to us for at least 10 to 20 seconds.
A little bit closer, yeah.
We're trying to get everybody to talk to us for at least 10 to 20 seconds, saying what they do. And we'll make a video out of it and put it on our channel.
Oh, fantastic. Well, give a shout out to your channel. What's your channel name?
Short High.
Short High. So SHORTA. Okay. I can't read where that is. Oh, there we go. SHORTHIGH.
Just how it sounds.
Short High. Okay, and
One
that's
word.
your YouTube channel and one word. So there you go, guys. You can check out their video that they're putting together for the conference. So you're just doing a really quick, like, what do you do kind of thing in the, like say the ladies over here from what is it, Dope Queen, I believe. Have you just a 10, 15-second interview, and then you're going to mesh it all together on your channel later?
Yep.
We don't exactly ask questions. We just tell them, ask them what they do, and then they explain what they're doing because they can probably explain it better than we can.
Yes. Yeah.
It's better that way.
Well, it's like what you guys are doing. Like, we're on a live stream here. You just sit down and what do you do? And why are you doing it?
Where are we streaming?
Right now we're streaming to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, not Instagram because so only certain people have the RPP address to stream live to Instagram. But yeah, those are the other channels. The channel itself is all about the biology. We're trying to bring awareness to the biology on our planet that's failing us. And for the cannabis people, if you want the full genetic potential out of a cannabis plant, it's the biology that actually builds the cell inside of the cannabis plant. So no matter how you grow, whether it's in soil or hydroponics, you have to have biology. That's the only way. It's like building a house. That's the cellular plant. If you don't have the labor force, you don't have a very good house being put up or very quickly. And then for the more you can give on the molecular level of what the plant needs to grow, just like our cells, what we eat is what makes the cells of our body. So if you can give the full amount of biology and molecular level what a plant needs, then you have a healthy, happy plant. When we consume it, it's that much better for us as well.
Yeah, like I'm assuming better nutrients and everything.
Yes. Yeah, by far. Oh, quit doing that. How long have you been together?
29 years married.
I forgive you both. I'm up in the 30s with my wife, and so
we were together for quite a while before we got married.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I know my wife and I were friends for 5 years before we actually decided to get married. Well, common law for that long anyway. So
after a certain number of days, it doesn't work.
Exactly. That's what I keep telling her, and she keeps looking at me, going, "Yeah." I really wanted to walk down the aisle, and I'm going, "I don't want to." Shh. Don't anybody tell her that, okay? You guys know who it is, so. Shh. So, is this the? Are you strictly a cannabis channel? Do you cover other stuff, or what's going on?
It's primarily cannabis, but in the summertime we also show our other garden, corn, potatoes,
Okay, yeah,
tomatoes, peppers.
fantastic.
Every 2 weeks something drops in our video.
And growing the vegetables and all of that, has that helped you with your cannabis growing as well?
Mostly helping me dispose of my soil.
Okay, yeah.
We're organic, and you use a lot of soil, and it's good. Your soil isn't done just because your plant is done with it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
We amend your soil and grow a lot of other things in it.
Yeah.
And it was something for us to grow in our used soil.
And so, how are you finding did you grow vegetables before you started using the used soils, or were you just growing normally? And have you seen a benefit from doing it that way?
We re-amend the soil
Okay.
every summer, and it's just a community soil pile that gets added to and re-amended and split up into containers.
Okay.
We're container gardeners.
Okay. So are you re-amending your soil and bringing it back into your grow, or is it once you've used it in your grow, it's strictly outside and it's done?
Currently, once it's used once, it goes outside.
Okay.
But once we've hit enough soil outside and we have a big enough soil body to work with, then that will become our soil for indoor as well.
Okay. Well, you're going to want to stick around, and you guys are here tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, because some of the people that are speaking here are specialists in soil. Mr. Leighton Morrison, he's the guy designed the horizontal soil system. And if you're growing indoors, it's a soil system you set up, and that's it. You never touch it again. Once it's set up, you've added your biology. You just keep growing in it. You don't have to take your soil out, replace it. It's a system where
an earth box style.
A lot, yeah, like an earth box.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just playing with my microphone there. Okay.
We have larger plants, and each plant is almost an earth box.
Yeah. Well, and I know that one of the gentlemen here, Tom Landry, I'm not sure if he's speaking, but he has a commercial grow where he's using that system, and the beds are 40 feet long by 3 feet wide. And he can water at one end, and how the system is devised is sand and rock at the bottom, so it becomes a wicking bed. That's your aquifer.
Oh, okay.
And you have the different levels of biology, stuff that doesn't like oxygen, stuff that has to have the oxygen. You have the three different levels of biology, and once you have the system actually working inside with the biology, you don't have to do a lot after that. Maybe some extracts, some worm castings, stuff like that, where you can pull your feed. But once you have the bed set up and have everything going, and it can take a year or two, right? You can water your plants, and you can go away for 5 or 6 days, come back, and your plants have no stress because it's been wicking all that water up in the soil structure itself, right?
I never thought of that before.
Yeah, Leighton Morrison is talking tomorrow, and he'll be talking about the horizontal system.
Well, that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But we still have a lot of filming to do ourselves.
Okay, well, you guys take off, and I don't know where my assistant is, but I'll get her to grab some more people. Yes,
Can we
definitely.
take a quick 10 seconds of you and what you do on our film?
Sure. I'll just keep talking on my mic to keep my stream going, but just we'll put the mic back in the stand here. Okay. Yeah. So they're going to be recording me just yapping to you guys on the live stream. Oh no, don't worry about that. You were just on. So we got one camera actually right there, that little one, and then we've got the camera up here. I'm just going to switch over to that one, and then I'll sit back, and then everybody can see me, and that's off the laptop. So yeah. So I want to thank Jeff and his lovely wife for coming and talking to us today. They're YouTubers, and so you're going to have to check out their YouTube channel. They're soil growers, and everybody loves cannabis, and that's why we're all here. And when you're watching their channel, just think of the benefits to share their channel to them as YouTubers and to get the message out that this plant is such a wonderful plant in so many ways. It brings us together. It's about caring, sharing, and community, and we want this community of like-minded people to grow and prosper. So check out their channel as well, and thank you, Jeff, for coming, sitting with us, and telling us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing. You're welcome, Jeff. You have a wonderful day. Okay, bring them on in. Have a seat. Grab a headset. Drop a headset just right beside you there, and then you'll be able to actually hear me clearly. You should be able to hear me. Okay, and then just grab that mic out of the stand. So, my friend, tell me a little bit about who you are. We're going to switch back to a different camera here. There we go.
Yeah, so my name is Denon. I'm from Hydrolite Hydroponics. We have 3 hydro stores in Edmonton. We service people and have all things from dirt, pots, and nutrients.
Yeah. I've actually been to the store on the south side several times.
Heck yeah.
I met the owner there, the lady that owns it.
Yep.
I bought all my Gaia Green nutrients from there when I first got started. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful selection of different amendments, both organic and on the other side of the spectrum.
Salt-based.
Salt-based. So tell us, what else do you guys generally have in the store?
Well, aside from the nutrients and the growing mediums, we'll have like pots, insecticides, and seeds we also sell too. We also do help with consulting. So depending on if you're like a micro or an LP, we can help you and consult through different problems that you might have.
Yeah. Have you ever worked with the GrowDoc app?
No, not personally myself.
Okay, because if you've never heard of it, you can actually take a picture of your cannabis plant, and it will tell you what deficiencies that
cool.
is in the plant, right?
Yeah.
And it gives you the different options, both on a salt-based and an organic base, of what you can do to combat.
Correct that deficiency.
Yeah.
Ah, so cool. No, and there's so much information out there. I feel like that's one of the things we do the most these days is help to mitigate like some of I wouldn't say bad information, but sometimes misrepresented information.
Bro science, we call it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of what we do nowadays is making sure that we're just pushing ourselves in the right direction and not wasting our time. Because it can be a very time-consuming thing when you grow. Whether it be cannabis, the vegetables, you don't want to be wasting your time, right?
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. And you guys don't just do cannabis; you do a little bit of everything in your stores. I know I saw hydroponics in there. I saw aquaponics in there a little bit.
Yep.
And it's all those different styles. And like when you're hired and trained, are they training you in the different styles, or do you each have your own, basic area that you really focus on?
Well, that's a great question, actually. I mean, depending on who you talk to, we'll all have like a different level of expertise per se.
Yeah.
I don't say that we really have like a specialty for each person. We do try to train people like on nutrients and the general basics of whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing with our company is hiring someone. We really want to make sure that the person's a right fit and is knowledgeable as well.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, like we will have people that we'll reach out to, like Mario and Cindy, the owners, when we get the hard questions, because at the end of the day, if I don't know it, I'm sure someone on the team will know it.
Exactly. And it's helping. It's the caring, sharing community I talk about on this channel all the time. And it's forming those friendships with the people that are growing, because they're not just, the people that are paying your wages. They can be your friends in your community, right? And it's
100%.
Yeah.
No, and some customers that started out, because we've been in business since 01, they started out in 03 or 04 and started buying from us, and then quickly became friends and family right after that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, and now it's where we hang out and eat dinners with each other. So it's really cool with that in this industry as well.
Oh, exactly. And like you can come to these events like this and find each other, and that's a beautiful thing to be able to interact with the people that are buying your products. And so what do you grow personally, if you don't mind my asking?
I do. I grow cannabis. I do have a really big garden as well. I like to grow like radishes and spinach and things like that too, just in the summertime. Cannabis is definitely the one that I grew up growing, I should say, though. Like once I turned 18, I started. I'm 26 now, so.
Oh man,
no,
you still look 18.
no,
Come on.
right? So yeah, no, that's definitely been one of my Achilles heels. Is I'm a younger grower,
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
lot of people who are a little bit older than me. Sometimes they want to make sure they're getting the correct advice and what things like that.
Well, yeah. Somebody like me comes in with the gray beard, and
For
we
sure.
want this young whippersnapper. Okay, kid, what do you know? Well,
Exactly. So yeah, no, that's definitely something that we try to mitigate and help and make sure that we're
Yes.
getting it.
Yeah. Well, correct information. We're all trying to educate people on everything that's out there. Now, do you grow in soils yourself, or are you growing hydroponically?
Yeah, hydroponics is how I do mine. So I do it on a drip to waste.
Okay.
So everything that comes in, everything out is just garbage after that for water.
Right.
And then the medium that I would be using would be rock wool.
Okay.
Yeah, I start with the small cubes, go to the 4x4, and then onto a slab afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, and I find for my setup at least, it's the cleanest that I can do, and it keeps down the work and the hard play of scrubbing things. Yeah.
So are you like have a house or an apartment? Like what size are you looking at? Because you're saying you're doing vegetables as well. So I'm assuming that you have a little bit of acreage that a substantial yard.
For sure, yeah. No, I mean, like the garden bed would probably be like a 9x5. I'd say it's not the biggest for the vegetables.
Yeah.
And then the flower room and my area where I do all my cannabis. I mean, collectively would probably be a 12x12 altogether with the.
So it's all indoors.
No, the vegetables outside.
Okay.
So I do have that outside for the summers, and then all the cannabis is inside. I just find when you're outside, you're always fighting bugs and things, and it's just can't be perfect like I would like it. And then the outdoor is a little leafier too, so you kind of continue with that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that's kind of where I play in it. Like the flower room's 2 4x8 tables, so we kind of play with that in that realm. Yeah.
So like in your basement kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Spare bedroom. Use it
Okay.
up.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's not a spare room. It's a grow room. I mean, face it.
Oh, for sure. Hey, now that's my play area, right? I could go down there. That's where I can hide away and kind of. Almost therapeutic in a realm, especially with the way that this industry has changed. It's not like a money grab as it used to be before legalization. It's a lot of people do it because they like it now.
Well, a lot of people are doing it for medical growing, right? For your own, find that's very strained for your pain. Like I have back issues, and when you find that, you just want to keep that and you want to grow it yourself, right?
100%. You want it consistently. Last thing you want is your medicine going up and down, right? So
well, did that grow that was growing it? Did they just stop growing that strain to move on to a new strain? Well, I just lost my medicine. Like, what the hell do I do now?
No,
right?
Exactly. It's like, wait, why'd you take that away? Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally get that half. So yeah, no, it's really cool, the revolvingness of this industry and watching it grow and change. So
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And it's supposed to grow and change. Like we're supposed to grow and change in our own minds and what we understand. The more we understand about what we're doing, then the better off we're going to be, and the more knowledge, and you just go through this progression, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, I mean, for the first 15, 16 years of working at Hydrolite, it was always going to be about cannabis, tomato plants, yada yada. Whereas now you fast forward, people are in the shop, they're talking, they're saying what they're growing, what they're using. So a lot of different things that we've expanded to in this industry for sure.
Yeah.
Julie, grab the one that's the chair behind you. No, that one won't work. There's no wire. The wire's on the floor.
Yeah, we're just grabbing a couple of more young ladies. Blunts and beans. Alexis. Okay. Yeah, come in and put the headset on. Can you hear me, Jolene? Okay, then you're going to want to grab that mic there. And Denon, it's Denon? Denon. This is Jolene.
Nice to meet you, Jolene.
Alexis from Blunts and Beans. They actually have an event happening this summer in a few months down, it's called Camp Canna. And where is it, Alexis?
In Pine Lake, Alberta, centrally located. We do a weekend full of camping, yoga, guided meditation, sound bath. We have 3 gourmet chefs. We do live music.
Okay, now hold on. I remember one gourmet chef when you were on the Passion Within. Now you've got 3.
Yes, we had 3 last year. Actually, we just didn't know if all 3 could make it back. We just knew for sure, so we found out, and all 3 are coming back. Sorry for hijacking. We were just sitting here listening to this beautiful interview.
Well, Thank you. You're sucking up what you want, okay? But the thing is he can actually probably, or I don't know if your boss would let tickets be or advertising be in the store. Can they do that for like a cannabis camp?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, we definitely have to ask the owners too, just to get the green thumb. But I don't see why not. Yeah, no, and that'd be a great place to connect with people that are going to be like-minded and kind of looking in that direction.
Yeah, it's really great for businesses to get involved with sponsorship and vending. Hydrolite would be a sponsorship type situation, just with the HLC regulations on who can get involved in these kinds of things. But yeah, it really gives a intimate setting, like, not like one that we're in today with the very trade show-esque, as people are kind of walking by. It gives you a nice intimate setting. You really get to know the reason behind the business and not just what the product is and how much it costs and where you can find it.
No, for sure. Where's the free stuff?
Exactly. And it's more of like why do you do what you do?
Okay, if you guys wouldn't mind taking over the interview so I can do some little technical over here,
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Well, guys,
we're just taking over the passion with you
hello.
guys.
Yeah, guest host. Well, it's actually the GrowUp, so
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on the GrowUp. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Oh, nice.
yeah,
nice.
we're live streaming from the GrowUp, so you guys, and we're gonna try to figure out because we're gonna get some more people in here. So take over.
Awesome. I have a question. Can we call it? Can we name them? How many doobies did you smoke today? That
Not enough.
You don't
Not
remember
enough.
that
I
from
promise you.
yesterday.
Especially with the rain coming in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It is, but you know what? It was supposed to rain all day today, so I think we're extremely fortunate that we had a beautiful sunshiny morning.
Yeah.
We got to do the hash competition out in the sunshine. We got to really enjoy it before the wind picked up and the rain came. And I
Yes.
feel like it's gonna blow through, guys.
No, fingers crossed.
Are we doing a weather segment? Because I've always wanted to be a meteorologist. Ladies and
Welcome to
gentlemen, it is
weather.
raining outside.
It's cloudy too.
It doesn't look like it's going to break. Oh, maybe I see some blue over there.
Yeah,
So-
anyways, this is not the
Are you
weather.
having fun at Can Expo?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's a fun expo. It's a little different because we're not selling anything Hydrolite specifically, so it's more mingling and talking and kind of getting to know everybody.
What was your highlight so far? Day 2? Who did you talk to?
I mean, the highlight definitely getting to see all our vendors, like a lot of people that we talk to from day-to-day basis, but I don't get to see their face, so that's definitely a highlight for me. Working with people, I like to be personal, so that kind of helps out. Yeah.
When you can actually envision the face behind the phone, it helps me too.
Put the laugh on the face if they're putting the haha, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Or just hear the message in their voice, their real voice.
Yes, not
I
an
find
auto-tune
that-
voice.
Yeah, exactly. Or your voice for them.
Right? How about you, ladies?
Yeah, I'm having lots of fun. Seeing a lot of people out here. We are huge advocates in cannabis tourism and events and stuff like this because it brings the cannabis community together and it's a vibe, these kinds of things, right?
Oh, 100%.
The consumption lounge is lit when it's not raining. But
no,
Zell over there had a really good black cherry soda.
Heck yeah.
It was
Oh no,
quite
and
nice.
it's cool to be able to see people in their element, right? Not at
Yeah.
a shop or in a store.
Exactly.
And the vibe just can't be matched. Any kind of cannabis related event, really.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Like no other industry has this kind of people that turn out and are just amazing to talk to.
In such a positive light.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, we have some new guests
Oh,
joining us.
We're expanding.
Yes.
And he's back.
This is awkward. Should I wear my other shirt, guys?
Hello.
Hi guys, welcome to the cruise. So who do we have over here?
I am Brian Rusk from Into the Weeds and High Power Lights. This is my partner and wife, Chantel.
Okay, so you're in control, and we just don't want to talk to him at all, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. He runs the ship.
So, ladies, you guys were in the middle of an interview with this young man. Do you want to continue on, or how do you want to go? We just add in.
Let's just open the floor.
I
Okay.
mean, if you need to get back to your booth, you're more than welcome. But we're having a
Let's
good
have a
combo
chat.
if you want to stick around. I feel like we could squeak in a little bit because Chantel's missing.
So, Denny,
you guys
let's
can't
get
see
a
her
topic.
beautifulness.
How long have you been a consumer?
Probably since like 10 years now, 12 years.
And how did you get into the industry?
How to get into the
Like, how did
industry.
you come to cannabis?
Oh, I mean, my parents owned Hydrolite, so I didn't really get an option. I kinda
Oh,
got thrusted
second
into it.
generation in the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
We can talk about that
I feel
because
like
Brian and Chantel have a very cute son named Oliver.
Oh, perfect.
You know?
Right on, right on.
And yeah, maybe he will be another second generation.
No, and I actually have one that's 9 months old too now, so I'm hopefully passing the torch later, and I can sit back afterwards.
Nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, what hydrolytes? Talk to us about hydrolytes. What are you guys doing over there?
Right. So
Or high par? Or?
high par.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Now you
sorry.
got a tongue twister. You
No,
got
right?
hydrolite and high par. Way to put me in like a sticky situation. Kind of.
Well, you know, if you didn't
Should we
smoke
make
a
'em-
joint before you got here, then we're not going to have any fun whatsoever. This is a cannabis event.
Yeah,
So,
we
you
need a
know.
couple
You're
stutters.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a new partnership between us and Hydrolite, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
in the makings.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, we're so we have a micro cultivation as well, and
Okay.
we knew we wanted HLG lights in that from our home grow experience, and
Okay.
so it was hard for us to get them. They had just parted ways with their Canadian distribution.
Right.
So we kind of slipped in there like a dirty shirt, and now we're the Canadian distribution. So
Fantastic.
yeah, so we sell high efficiency LED grow lights. Horticulture Lighting Group is the brand.
Okay, yeah.
Made in the USA, in Tennessee. So.
We had a cutting of blueberry muffin that we were running for a really long time, and the HLGs, we got a different terpene profile, and we just became obsessed with them. I prefer the smoke that I got from them and the quality and the yield, so
Yeah.
it was just a no-brainer.
Oh, fantastic. And how long have you guys been growing for?
10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, Brian, he started when he was 14, a little solo cup.
Well, that's only a
He
couple
got
weeks
caught
ago.
bringing in Switzerland seeds, so his mom shut down his operation.
Hey,
But
okay, that's enough of that.
That's some of that good kid.
And see, if
off the
Mom could talk right now, she'd be going, yeah, uh-huh.
now it's full circle. He's doing it for a living again. She's totally on board, which is good. But yeah,
It's just the grow up confession
circle.
booth over here.
Yeah.
I love this. I love it. You know what I really love too about your lights is you can do flowers and vegetables. I find a lot of lights. I can't say anything. I've never tried hydrolights, so I'm not trying to like
sure.
throw any shade, guys. But I'm just saying, like, from experience, I have seen some really beautiful flowers and vegetables, which can be hard to do with a grow light.
I find that you need like a different assortment. Like there's a room for everyone on the market. Depends what you're trying to grow, depends what you're trying to achieve, depends what your price point is, depends what your style is, and then there's something for everybody. So I like that there's another light guy here.
Well, I don't. You're not really a light guy. You have the shop that sells lights, right?
Yeah, I mean, we specialize in it, though.
Okay,
like,
okay.
When you're consulting with people, you got to know a little bit of kind of every area to be able
Yeah.
to give an adequate answer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So no, like we do have knowledge in that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So-
I mean, ours is like more so rather than like where they kind of push that brand. We kind of assort ourselves with a bunch of different brands, like
Yeah,
Vita,
yeah.
Mars, Lux. So Illuminar
Yeah.
as well. So it depends on what you're kind of looking for.
So what you're saying is next week we're also going to be able to find
HLG.
HLG lights
Waiting
in
for the
your
card,
store.
waiting for the card.
Okay,
We're
well,
already
yeah.
talking to your purchaser this morning.
Perfect. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah,
you heard me here first.
Well, and that's what the whole Grow Up is really about, is about bringing companies and people together and networking like this, because we all need to advance. And by you guys being here and talking to you and connecting, we all benefit.
You need that face-to-face where people to
Yes.
trust you.
Yeah,
And we're
exactly.
just nobody from Rocky Mountain House, and we've been growing for 4 years with our micro. So now that we're finally out, it's so nice to meet other people that are in the same stage as we are. So
It gives an opportunity for marketing and advertising because with Health Canada's regulations on promotions and marketing, especially in the cannabis industry, there is no avenue for it unless you are doing events and getting in person and spreading by word of mouth. This is only the way we can spread the word. So it's nice though. It's nice to see it happen. Yeah.
Well, and with the consumption panels and the consumption area outside, we never figured we were going to have that. And then, being able to take samples inside from the, the different retailers, etc. The bud tenders are getting that little bit more of an education on who's who and what's what. And we all need education.
It's true. And they have had these kinds of events in other provinces for
Yeah.
months. So it's nice to be able to offer it in Alberta too.
Yeah. I would like to see it come back to Edmonton on a regular basis, but I know the next. Are you guys going to be going to the next GrowUp? It's in Victoria at the end of the summer. So there's one that you guys might want to plan for now, because that's going to be a whole nother group of individuals. I know, Randy, this is a lot of Alberta LPs, etc. There, it's going to be a lot more of the BC people. So that's something you guys are going to want to plan for. I know these ladies are going to definitely be there. I don't know about you, man.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm starting with Mario trying to get a store down there first, and then I can work
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Get me out of Alberta. But yeah, no, right? So.
We'll probably see him at Camp Canada.
Oh, well, I hope so. I hope so. Are you guys going to be coming to Camp
I already
Canada?
got my ticket.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. So how do you guys go? Are you guys growing hydroponic, living soils? How do you guys grow?
Yeah, it's a living soil setup. So we're doing 10-gallon fabric pots,
Okay.
living soil, 6 plants of light, all LED, hang dried, hand trimmed.
So pure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Everything by hand. He mixes his own soil and everything. So.
Yeah, I wish I didn't, but I do.
Every time.
Yeah, well, I know Leighton Morrison, he's going to be here tomorrow. He's brought the horizontal soil system. So you build it once, and then you never touch it again.
Right.
It just keeps going, right? I know a lot of people are throwing out soil, and they don't really need to. But then they're part of the education again, right? Yeah. Well, that's what that's like the channel that you're on right now it's called All About the Biology. Right, so that's what I'm into. That's my saying. It's all about the biology. So I started a YouTube channel called that. But it's all about the caring, sharing, and community, and bringing us all together to learn about what makes us work. Because if we don't have the biology in our bodies, we don't build healthy cells. If the biology is not in the plant's not going to be healthy. So it's a combination of nutrients, and like if you eat steak, that's the muscles that you build in your body. If you're giving your plant steak, it's not the right food for it. You have to give it plants because that's what's easiest for the biology to break down and give back to the biology in the plant to build this nice, new, healthy plant that, Jolene's going to go, oh, yeah, that smells so good. Can I smoke this, please?
No, and we're still learning so much about different things like vapor pressure deficit, tissue culture.
Yes.
There's so much new biology that's starting to come out because we are now able to talk about it, look at our data sheets,
Yeah.
and see real science rather than bro science, right?
Exactly. You need the data points.
100%, right? And now we can push plants or strains to levels that we probably haven't ever seen before. So really, we can unlock different doors, right?
Yeah. So how are you guys looking at that? Do you guys do any pheno hunting, or are you just straight buying seeds? So tell us a little bit about what you're hunting and what you're growing.
Well, our hunts kind of started. We had a medical garden previous to the commercial space, and basically we selected for medical effect, essentially.
Okay. Yeah.
Whatever did the trick, but then, sorry.
Oh, no worries. I know.
Trying to get Chantel in here a little bit.
Okay, don't step on that phone that's on the floor there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, shift over, Chantel, so we can get you in more. There we go.
To follow up to our weather report, we advised earlier the rain is slowing. Slowing down.
Oh, and there's Dr. Av Singh.
It's the sunshine.
The sun is coming.
Yeah.
And I see blue sky.
in a while. Yeah, so basically our process was not big hunts. We'd maybe do a pack, right? We do
Right.
10 at a time, and if one worked out, gave the desired effect, that's where we would start. Was to take away the pain, help sleep, etc., etc. Secondary to that, taste, flavor, maybe yield. What they look like, kind of last. I'd say maybe a third of our library came from that. We brought it in from the medical side, and then the rest of it we got from a friend of ours from the legacy side.
So who's the medical patient?
My wife Chantel.
Okay, I'm not going to ask what the ailments are, but I know I screwed up my back so bad I can't live without cannabis, right? So that's what really drove you to supply, the best medicine for your wife that you could. And who are the other people that you're supplying? Like, you don't just start a micro grow, you started from the medical, growing medically. Who else are you trying to breed for?
My oh, sorry, I'm the family with the problems. His mom has some walking issues from
Right.
cancer, and
Okay.
then as I was going through, I acquired CRIPS after a surgery, which
Okay.
is complex regional pain syndrome. So it focuses, and my leg just stopped working. So I was using a
Mhm.
walker,
Yeah.
but I was in a car accident, and this was like a long history of
Process.
things that,
Yeah.
yeah. And we went and seen a neurologist, and he prescribed cannabis. And at the same time that we were going through that, my sister was about 7 months pregnant, and her
Mhm.
husband was working in downtown, and he had a seizure and found out he had brain cancer.
Oh, geez.
So he has reoccurring brain cancer.
Yeah.
But Brian just kind of seen what cannabis did for me, and then we heard about what it can do for cancer patients. So he kind of threw himself into that, and my mom also has MS, so
Okay.
he's into CBG and the neurological protectiveness that can
Right.
happen with that plant, so or with that compound of cannabis. So he's kind of that's where his library and everything came from.
Well, and that's wonderful because, like, I'm all about medical cannabis, not so much. Well, I guess I'm all about cannabis because it doesn't matter if you're just smoking cannabis. You know, you're having a medical benefit with it interacting with your endocannabinoid system. Just most people, oh no, that they're just getting high, but no, you're medicating. You know, in so many different ways. And the older you get, and the more you start to hurt, you realize the more that you need that cannabis just to find that homeostasis where, yes, I can have a quality of life, and that's what it's really about, is quality.
Sure.
Being able to live normally as possible. So what
Yeah.
do you need to help you assist with your current system and what you have going on? And then also like to take away any side effects. Cannabis is great for side effects.
Yes.
So whether you are on medication that you no longer, like you can't get off of it, it can
Yeah.
also help with that. I've seen it just, you've got a symptom and you can name it, cannabis can probably assist you with that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely a lot less side effects than conventional. Like what the first doctors gave her.
Yeah, they say about 2 years. So any medication that you're on, if it's for pain, about 2 years, and then you'll have to go off of it and then go back on it. So yeah.
Okay, you guys want to take over for a second? My wife just called me. I think I better call her back. She's picking up Leighton Morrison at the airport. So you guys carry on.
Excellent.
You know we love talking to Chantal.
I mean, I saw the rain stop and I want to go nourish my system, but here we are talking about wishing we could nourish our systems. I have to say.
What time
I thought that was
What time is it?
Because we've interviewed you guys.
It is 2:59. It is. Yeah, we have. We've been here.
You got an hour and 20 minutes.
Lifted Mornings Part 2. Let's do it.
Okay. But I didn't realize in our conversation that you are also breeding and phenohunting for genetics that helped with cancer. So when you're looking at those strains, what are you looking on a more topical level, or?
I'll just say like very limited for cancer. I mean, I sort of became aware of CBG through some podcasts or something like this. Just heard of it, looked into it, and then I found a couple studies on the neuroprotective properties of that. I thought, well, that might help some people, and it wasn't available, right? So I found some seeds, and that one we did, 10 or 15, and we've got a little contraption that tests, and we got a CBG cut that's 10% CBG, 5% THC. So, I mean, that's basically my limit. But for as far as selecting for cancer, you don't have a.
It was more like he made hash because if he coughed because he's missing part of his skull or like something like that. If you're a cancer patient who's been through brain cancer, it's really hard on them. Coughing or like anything to do with the head. If you have a headache, it's going to be twice as bad. So like the different ways of, he would create like RSO for me, and then someone else would prefer hash, and then someone else would want to distill it, and then someone else wants flour, and then like MCT oil over coconut, and like all of these different variables of trying the plant, and then like what works for top up. Oh, smoking. So like there's so many different elements, and then like what works best for each patient, and then like if you do have cancer, it obviously depends on what kind you have and like how to treat it, and there's a bunch of information out there. But like I just meant sort of like the process in which he made it was fit for that specific person and for me.
I love it.
I'm gonna have to.
We have a set change.
Oh,
Everyone,
sorry.
we're talking. We
are
get too
talking.
shifty,
and Ken had this beautiful setup, and we're just wrecking it, ladies and gentlemen.
just
We've been on
dove right
set
in
for
here.
5 minutes. That's me. Now he's gonna pull my headphones.
Your headphones? It's right.
I'm just bugging. He's not really.
Gosh.
So you want to know what I love? As soon as the sun peeked out, it stopped raining. Just like ants. coming
Everybody's
out of the
out
coffee.
there.
Everyone's like, "Hello."
We need to go nourish our sisters.
Is there anything
I love-
else that you guys wanted to tell anyone while you're here? Just
Well, Chantel recently launched a terpene beverage.
Yes.
he did.
Let's
It's
talk
so
about
good,
these
ladies
drinks.
and gentlemen, for the first time in Canada.
Oh my gosh.
So we have a terpene infused beverage that is a botanical beverage that you can either drink and make yourself feel very blissful.
So you drink it, and at least myself, I'm going to speak from personal experience. I have been drinking these terpene drinks about 20-40 minutes before I go consume. If it's an edible, I would eat my edible first and then consume after, or drink the drink after. But it guides the cannabis experience into whatever area you want to go, and it actually does. I'm the biggest skeptic with drinks. I don't like drinks. I don't like anything that's not coffee or water. I'm out. All of it. Don't like it. But I can drink these. They do taste good. The Bliss one gets me. But you feel so good after. It's like, deal with it. It's a tiny amount to drink. It's not a huge amount to drink. I like that. But like the fact that it actually works, like the Wake one is like, don't drink energy drinks. What are you doing? You smoke weed. Drink the Wake. Have a weed. Do your thing.
And the Intensify one, that's where that one really kicks it up. But I also want to mention that you don't have to consume with these shots. And that was another really beautiful thing is like you're busy on the go in the morning. You need a little bliss. You got a shot.
And that's kind of edifying, like how it actually does work, because it could just be in your head if you're stoned. Oh yeah, I'm feeling so
Some of our
blissful
systems are more
because cannabis
nourished.
is intentional, right? Like it'll do whatever you want it to do, but like the fact that it will actually feel that way when you don't consume, like that's how you know it actually works. Like it's a good steering wheel.
Definitely. Yeah, the Bliss, like you're saying, it'll cut through a pretty tough grump. Make you have a better day. Yeah,
a tough grump.
I think
setting
too, the
up.
Intensify one could assist for tolerance issues.
Yeah.
Or like people that can't afford like the really nice top shelf cannabis.
Yeah.
And can only afford, like a 10-12%.
And those Intensify ones aren't to play around with. Like that one got me. Got me. I was cocky. I had 2 gummies instead of 1. I should have just had 1. Drank the Intensify. I was on my couch, laid out. And that doesn't happen to me often.
But not only that, the other morning I drank an Intensify and I didn't consume. And, maybe my system is just more nourished than the average polar bear out there. But I honestly felt like by the time I got to where I was going a half hour later, I felt like I had smoked one still. I was like, this is beautiful.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we started playing around with terpenes a while back, but it's almost like, I don't know, I started to be able to tell, like, okay, THC must be doing this because I'm still getting, the other half of that experience just from, maybe just terps or maybe terps and CBD or this sort of thing, right? So,
And I love it because it like really amplifies the fact that there's terpenes in everything. Terpenes are in everything. It's not
Right.
just a cannabis thing. And there's obviously some challenges with having businesses involved in terpenes with the stigma surrounded, having terpenes just classified to
essential oil
cannabis.
almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like it's just a scent molecule at the end of the day. That's what a terpene is. So like anything that smells like lavender, peppermint, full of terpenes. Like you know what I mean? Just in its raw
Pine trees,
form.
piney.
everything. Like you don't have to worry a lemon,
Yeah.
So it's just like that kind of stuff is just
And discovering new ones every day when we test your cannabis.
which is so fun.
And that's where we need to get past this bias that we're seeing in society, because I feel like it's coming from really old school times and people are ready to be educated now and understanding. So it is hard when you see something that is terpenes, and because you use the word terpenes instead of playing on the essential oils side of it, because it's similar, right?
Well, so a terpene is a fraction of an essential oil, right? So like if, let's say, lavender essential oil might have 10 or 15 major constituents in it, but the linalool will be number one on that list. It's just a very specific compound that makes up lavender oil, right? So they are essential. They're a piece of essential oil, right? So that in that way they can kind of say, okay, this piece does this. Where you might spray lavender oil on your pillow and well, maybe that makes you sleepy, but we don't really know why. But linalool does this because it acts on this piece of the brain and does this and does that.
And I'm going to introduce Kayla, the cannabis nurse. I don't know if you guys have ever met her. This young lady has put a medical course together for nurses in Canada, and she's going global with it. But the government hasn't approved. So with your wife and the situation that she's finds herself in, this is a young lady that knows exactly what can help a lot of different people. And thank you very much, Kayla, for coming and sitting down. You got to talk into the mic, young. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Hello.
Hi.
We're huge fans of Kayla.
Yeah,
big
fan.
Ditto. The whole line knows her. This is great.
Definitely.
But your nurses program is going global, which is absolutely amazing and wild. And I can't believe how blessed we are to see it in such a seed form, and then watch it grow to this point. That's wild. It's amazing.
Thanks,
and
Alexis.
for you doing that, 'cause it's so necessary. It is really.
So,
truly.
okay, you guys, how about you guys have a conversation? I could really use a smoke, and it
Me
stopped
too.
raining.
I can too. And I did it before I sat down. Okay, can you go nourish your system, and then we'll
come
back out.
I'm going to go
Come back
nourish
so
my
quickly.
endocannabinoid system,
Oh, yes.
guys. So I'll be back. You guys have the conversation,
Okay, great.
and I'm going to enjoy you guys.
Okay, fine. Sounds good. Let's go back to Kayla. My system is low.
Big smile right here, guys. Yeah, I love that. Perfect.
The photographer at GrowUp is on point too. Can I just say that? He
is
one
on it.
snap. No, guys, I don't need a second one.
One
He's
shot
on
wonder.
it.
Yeah.
So we got the opportunity to sit in on a really beautiful conversation that you had this afternoon. So for those who weren't able to be here today and to take part on not only that conversation, there's so many beautiful ones going on, you guys. So much education, so many resources. Do you maybe just want to give everyone a little brief update on what they missed out on?
You mean about the endocannabinoid system? Is that what you were talking
Or
about?
if you want to talk suppositories, we can talk suppositories all day. I got Crohn's disease.
Hell yeah.
And adenomyosis.
Such a useful tool. Absolutely.
I like good orgasms. Like, I don't know what to say, but that's another reason they told me. They're good for it.
Suppositories?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what they said in the talk.
No, we're
Let's talk
all
about
listening now.
Spill the tea,
now
because
that
you
we
got
brought it
me
up,
interested.
you got to spill the tea on the internet too.
Enough of those. Let's be honest.
A conversation to walk into. We're talking about how suppositories give you better orgasms.
Welcome to the conversation.
Welcome to the
show.
Okay, so quickly, for those who don't know, do you want to just introduce yourself quickly before we jump back in?
My name is Brian. I'm part owner of Bloom's Grow Tech. We're a hydroponics and gardening store here in Edmonton. We also do design and construction. I'm an electrician, and my business partner is a refrigeration mechanic. So between the two of us, we just started building ACMPR rooms many years ago, and it's kind of steamrolled into this. So
Into a conversation about suppositories.
Well, I mean, if you have your ACMPR, you're probably consuming medicinally, just like everyone else is who consumes cannabis. But you mean there could be some good resources here. So, Kayla, do you want to
take us away?
We want to talk about suppositories. I
Yeah,
can
I
talk
mean,
about
we're loving it.
suppositories all day. The nurse is in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, suppositories are amazing because when we swallow cannabis, like cannabis oils, we absorb maybe 20 to 30% of the cannabinoids. Our bodies are made out of water. This plant is a fat-loving molecule, right? So water and oil don't mix well. And so sometimes absorbing only 20 to 30% of your cannabinoids is not affordable or effective for some people, right? And so having the option of suppositories that bypass the liver, so first pass metabolism, the stomach, the bowels, where we lose a lot of our cannabinoids, people can take in up to 80% of their cannabinoids using this alternative route of administration. And it's really ancient medicine, really, to use medicines in that way. Again, because you're getting a lot of absorption. And if we think about like vasodilation, like you get dry eyes and dry mouth from smoking cannabis because our vessels get large. And so that's why our eyes are all red. But you can imagine that for people that experience like sexual pain or any sort of pelvic pain, to bring vasodilation, nutrients, blood flow, oxygen to the pelvis, incredibly helpful. Like I'm headed in 2 days to go do a one-on-one consult with a girl in her 20s. She is 20, that has endometriosis, that has such severe pain that at the age of 20, just graduating from nursing, she cannot nurse. She's on leave, on narcotics for her pain. And so I'm going to go there. We're going to talk about suppositories. We're going to influence her endocannabinoid system while trying to preserve her fertility and give this girl some options. She's 20. She deserves to live life.
She literally has her whole life.
I know. And to be in that much pain, she can't sleep, she can't work. That's just not okay. And Western medicine hasn't had an answer for her yet, but we have yet to acknowledge the endocannabinoid system in Western medicine.
I love that.
I love it. That's so informative. Okay, so I took two things away from that. You said dry eyes, but then you also said to help with sexual health. So then are you pairing another product if you're feeling a little dry?
You can use the suppositories for that. So in like menopausal or postmenopause, being able to bring nutrients into the pelvis brings in lubrication when you get vasodilation. So it can address things from pain to dryness, and also just for people that have had sexual traumas in their pelvis. We have a plant that has this ability to access all pillars of health and begin to start healing, and in a lot of different ways that we wouldn't think about. And if we move outside of sexual health, people with chronic back pains, hip pains, like what about arthritis? Or I have clients that can't drive more than 10 minutes because their pain is so bad. So right then and there, their lives are incredibly limited. So one cannabis suppository without intoxication can end up them having a new quality of life. I can drive to see my grandkids.
And I love that in the conversation today you shared, this is something I learned today at this age of my life, in this industry at this point. If you properly administer a suppository with THC, you do not get psychoactive effects.
Only if you insert it
away.
properly. Let's put that out there.
Yeah, I know, properly administered.
Yeah, you don't want to go too far.
The higher up, the higher you get.
Right. But
there is a vein there.
The other
Brian,
beautiful-
I'm sorry that this is the conversation you walked into.
I was just wondering how I can contribute.
Okay, well, we'll
I
swing
want
it
to
back
pause
around.
this. Can I tell you something about Brian?
Yeah.
Squared?
Yeah.
Okay,
Does
so
it
this is
involve
Brian Squared.
suppositories?
No.
Which Brian are we talking about?
Okay, so these two Brians are both from Mornville, and they went to high school together. Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah.
Small town. I'm
so
a small town.
I've been
Alberta
hearing
girl.
about this Brian for years, and I finally got to meet him today. So now.
Aww. Oh, that's cute.
That was a big part of the reason I was like, oh, there's an opening and Brian's there. I'm going to go
We're talking about
And we get to talk about
suppositories.
suppositories.
I mean,
Welcome to being married.
It's okay. This is lovely. This is,
I
you
love
guys go way back. These are easy conversations to have. You know, I love the work that you're doing, Kayla, because you're opening the door for conversations to learn these things, literally, metaphorically, pun intended. But
You tell me everything.
but no, this is great. So, how are you enjoying the event so far? Obviously, you get to see Brian, so it's a great day. But
Yeah, I've been having a blast so far. I've seen lots of people that I know. My booth is doing really well. We got lots of people coming by, meeting other people. We got Brian right across from us. We got Ojen on the next door and Remo on the right. So we're just surrounded by a bunch of beauties. And it's been a fun time so far.
that's good.
Yeah.
We love blooms.
That's so good.
The vibe is always definitely high. And I mean, even considering your bestie was here and you got roped into a suppository conversation, like that's the beauty of a cannabis event is that we can have these kind of conversations with each other. And even if it's not what you were anticipating the conversation to be, there's probably going to be a takeaway for you from it.
Well, from the trades, your backs get sore.
Yeah,
my
that's right.
husband is a tradesman. Well, he stayed-home dad now, but it's hard on your body, and so being able to consume cannabis when you really need it and get like a good dose of it can be life-saving.
Yeah,
I tell my clients who say they're like, "Oh, I'm never doing that," and I'm like, "That's okay." But I know you get debilitating back pain, so just put some on your shelf, and the next time you're crawling around your house, try one and call me. And they always do. Might take a few weeks, but
So that's great. That's so great. I love that because me too. I often have some, I don't want to say elderly because they're not elderly, but some people who growing up in their generation, there was a stigma attached to cannabis and they do want to learn, but they're scared to ask these questions. So just knowing someone out there, if you do have a question, reach out, guys, because I'm sure they're willing to have that conversation with you.
We all know that one person that ate too many edibles and then refuses to try cannabis now. So I think suppositories too for the elderly that had that one experience that they still refuse to smoke cannabis. That would be a great option because then they don't have to worry about the psychoactive effects.
Right, and
unless they stick it too far up there.
A lot of people don't know that though. They assume if you're gonna take a suppository, it is going to be like consuming that edible, and you're gonna feel that way. But if you do it properly, you won't. Ken, we talked about suppositories while you were gone.
Yeah, and actually, if I remember right, there was a study in Vancouver. John Berfelo was involved with it, a lady with cancer, and they gave her suppositories, and they could not find anything in her blood work right away. So that just proves that that method of consumption is totally different than anything else. It's like we've got a thing going on with microgreens and seed sprouts that we're using high-grade cannabis seed for, high THC, and this young lady, she has recurring spasms, or what the heck is the term for dropping on the floor and seizures. Thank you very much. And she's been using cannabis since she was like 13. I never expected to make her past 15 or something, and she's in her 30s. But now her body has changed, and Kayla can speak to this very well on how the female body changes over time, and she was taking isn't working. So we're trying to find a different methodology, and we're thinking that the cotyledon on a micrograin has a different makeup genetically and hormonally as well, and we're hoping that that's going to actually help her.
I'm curious for her too, like the acid forms of cannabinoids, if we're like worried about absorption and like something's not working for her anymore, being able to switch into that acid form, take less of that acid form, get better absorption, would her endocannabinoid system respond differently to it?
Exactly.
Because over time, our endocannabinoid system of constant THC is like, I've seen that before, screw you, and it pops back inside the cell. We lose receptors, right?
Okay.
So even sometimes, like, it's hard though to talk about tolerance breaks when you're using it as medicine, right?
Yes.
For myself, I don't want to take a tolerance break and not sleep and have to depend on sleeping pills.
Mm-hmm.
You never want to be there, but like maybe the like influence of acid forms, that was something I learned a lot about in Colorado when I was down there last week. So
fantastic. Yeah. And there's so many different aspects of this plant on not just the biological, but in what is available through the plant and what we can use. And who are you, my friend, Brian?
Yeah, I'm Brian. I'm part owner of a hydroponic store here in Edmonton. We're called Bloom's GrowTech.
Right on.
We do design and construction and consultation.
Okay, cool.
We're also recently become the master grower at a micro cultivation facility here in the Lloydminster area.
Okay.
Called Wildwood Weeds.
Okay.
So we've you can follow us on Instagram and you can follow along with our journey there.
And what's your Instagram handle?
Bloom's GrowTech.
Bloom's GrowTech. Okay, guys. And Kayla, let's get your cannabis nurse. I know I've got it on file, but that's the computer's way over there. How do people get a hold of the cannabis nurse and your group?
They can follow on Instagram, which is Kayla, Kala. underscore Cannaqueen underscore RN. That's a long one. Or just my website, thecannabisnurses.ca, will speak to the nursing program that I have launched, and the other services that I provide through my practice.
Well, and you got legalized for this, or the Canadian government almost had you do this and write this chorus, and now you're taking it global. How are the regulations looking now that you've got this kind of a chorus out there?
So it wasn't the Canadian government. It was the Canadian Institute of Integrative Nursing Development and Education. So an accredited institute that is bringing nurses into a holistic space and understanding what integrative health and care looks like. And so they were the ones that asked me to write the program for them. And they're accredited worldwide. So
a big shout out to them for doing that, because it's definitely necessary.
Yeah.
And that's why you're going with because they're worldwide. You're talking a worldwide tour. So where's your next location?
I don't know yet.
They haven't told you yet. Here's your itinerary, and then you got to tell, honey, I gotta go flying again. Bye. Have fun with the kids.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I just got back from Denver, so I'm just gonna put some roots down for a little bit here and enjoy the summer before my son starts kindergarten, and do that kind of stuff, and just bring more nurses into the space, be powerful advocates, and just really help these patients that are coming to cannabis. So
and you started growing because of your wife and her being a patient, and how do you find your breeding regimen, trying to trace down exactly what cannabinoids work best?
Well, it was kind of I should say, like, I don't really consider myself a breeder. But it was pretty. Well, there was sort of a couple ways we went about it. So we started with her trying a bunch of different products just from wherever she could get them, and then we'd say, okay, the ones that are peppery help more. Okay, well, that's probably beta caryophyllene. Right. And so let's see what we can get that has that. Right. So we went down that way, and then kind of from the other side, I read as many studies as we could on the different alternative cannabinoids. Because intoxication was a problem from the opiates that she was on.
Yes, definitely.
Pharmaceutically, right? So we kind of wanted to stay away from that as much as we could, as long as we could still get the same, adequate relief, right? But most of it was just kind of stumbling into try this one.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sooner or later, I really like Cinderella 99. I can get through my day. I can do this. I can do. Right? And it was just not really a very good formal program, I'll say.
Yeah.
Even from a nursing perspective, it's not formal.
Right.
It's let's see what this plant can do for you. What can it do when it nourishes your endocannabinoid system? And I'm going to be there to journey with you in that experimentation process, bringing in the science that we do know to start directing, but using things even like the limbic system. So you smell a row of different strains, which one are you drawn to? There's our body knows what it needs.
Exactly.
And we've just been really told by Western medicine that we don't know what it needs. And so teaching people to be sort of embodied again and trust what they know, and it's beautiful to watch you start to grow from passion. My practice started because of my own story, and to have so many people in the cannabis space doing that is so powerful.
And that's precisely what we all want to do. And the more we all share and become voices, the better off our whole community is going to be. And we're bringing this plant to the world. It's not going to be, the government, running new ads saying cannabis is good for you. No, that's our guys' job to get out there and share this with people, not that they're in the cannabis industry already or are consuming, but the people getting to the point in life where they're starting to hurt, right? And I think that's a real option for us as an industry, is to talk more into different spaces, not just the cannabis space.
Absolutely. That's what changes stigma. It's not federal legalization. It is individuals moving through this world being examples. I can be a cannabis consumer, a mom, a nurse, an entrepreneur, all of these things, and you're well respected amongst your communities, and somebody's suffering or in pain or whatever it might be, and you can come to them and say, hey, you know what? Have you heard of this? Would you consider this? And it's a very different conversation than just seeing a dispensary on every corner. You know, it's those personal conversations that change stigma, and somebody that never thought they would consume cannabis is maybe now considering it.
Well, and there's so many different consumption methods, from topicals and where you can eat it, you can smoke it. You know, well, you guys were talking about rectally, and there's just so many options that people have. And like I've got a gray beard, and I think I can walk into most legions across the country and start talking to the farmers and the people sitting there that are in pain. And like, you know, it'd be nice to have like a 6-pack of topicals, and you back pain? Well, here, try this. You know, and that's getting us into a community that doesn't normally interact with us.
Absolutely. And they would see it in a more positive light from there.
Exactly. Like I know I don't know if you might be old enough to remember the frying pan and the eggs, and this is a brain on drugs. Like it's stuck in here this like for decades now, right? And I know better, but we've been almost programmed to think that way, and we've got to really change that. And that's one of the reasons we're doing these podcasts.
Oh, absolutely. And people are curious.
Yes.
Like when Western medicine is no longer meeting their needs, it becomes their sole mission to try to find something else, find something better. And like for yourself, Brian, like when you were trying to find alternatives to your wife, what if you had the support of a nurse in that space?
I would have sped it up for sure.
And you deserve to have that support, because masking your pain with opioids is actually not a solution. And so the people that I work with, they tend to be incredibly vulnerable. And I was incredibly vulnerable when I came to cannabis, right?
Yeah.
And so not providing individuals with the support they need and deserve, it's not okay. And it's really not okay. And this is like, we call it medical cannabis, but we don't treat it like a medicine.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that with more nurses trained in this space, we can see the difference. And all of my clients I work with have gone through our medical cannabis program.
Yeah.
And I'll spend 3 to 4 months with them, honing in on their regime, finding out about who they are, what they want to do. Okay, if you're in pain, like, it's great, we're going to get you out of pain, but what do you actually want to do when you don't have pain? Do you want to ride a bike again? Do you want to sit in a kayak again?
Yes.
Do you just want to sleep through the night? Like, what are your actual goals? And then as the nurse, you're there to help meet them.
Yeah. And you can build up that entourage effect for a person, and if you can't get that going to a dispensary because they don't have a clue, but going to a nurse or somebody trained in this, then they can guide you. And that's, I thank you. I love you with all my heart for doing this. It's a wonderful thing you've done.
Yeah, it's an exciting thing to do, and I love doing what I do, and it's so much more than just about cannabis. It's about the endocannabinoid system. We can have all of these conversations about cannabis, but if we don't talk about the endocannabinoid system, I truly don't think we'll be taken seriously. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to nurse and help people establish a baseline of pain control, mood regulation, and better sleep.
Yes.
And then from there, build on the activities. What nourishes our endocannabinoid system outside of cannabis?
Mm-hmm.
And what dysregulates it? So if somebody's like, well, they told me I want to quit smoking. And I said, forget about quitting smoking until you sleep better, your pain is in better control, and your mood is better regulated.
Exactly.
From that baseline, hell yeah, you can quit smoking. But when you're in chronic pain and you're not sleeping, like you're fighting a huge fight. You're climbing an uphill battle that isn't usually successful. That's why we never really see health promotion become successful.
It's that step by step. You got to get this fixed, and then you got a bit more quality of life. Now let's tackle this, and then move to this. And education in health and wellness, not just through cannabis, but eating healthy foods and getting your body healthy and finding that homeostasis. Like I'll never be out of pain. That's just the rest of my life, but I can find a quality of life, and that's really what cannabis for me is about, is that quality of life. And that's where the cannabis nurses can help. And the more people that are educated in that way, the better. And that's all of us.
I so agree. And these people, they deserve quality of life.
Yes.
We all have injuries. We've all been through things, but we don't deserve to stay stuck in those things. And so by understanding our bodies, understanding how cannabis works in it, then all of a sudden people are just naturally starting to do healthy behaviors.
Yeah.
How many of my clients go, I'm like craving salad. Like, what's wrong? Why am I craving salad? And he's like, I used to eat it just because I knew you should eat it, but now I want to eat it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we've shifted you out of this sort of fight and flight response. So
Yeah.
you're not looking for fast energy, which is like carbs and sugars.
Yep.
Your body's craving what it wants, and it's craving that continued endocannabinoid system nourishment. Like,
Yep.
it's just beautiful to watch people just be like, yeah, I just started and it was no problem.
Yeah, and your body, that's where you were talking about having the different jars and having them smell each one. You can do that in the grocery store. If you start to get attuned, and like I love that, people that start growing cannabis and go towards the organic side, all of a sudden they start growing vegetables. It's like the gateway drug to growing your own food, right?
Not to heroin.
Exactly.
Exact thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I ripped up my whole front yard this year, and I went crazy on food and veggies.
Right on, that's awesome.
Oh,
Started with
that's so
weed,
good.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just start I love plants. Like I love sitting and just being with my plants, and it's that connection on the energetic as well.
100%.
And that's where the cannabis really helps
It's
to open up that connection.
Mm-hmm. It's a calming morning routine. You get out there and you have a joint and a coffee and you water your plants. You enjoy the weather and you just feel a little more connected with everything.
Yeah, well, it's called grounding, and the more that we ground and draw that energy from our planet up and into us, the more balanced we are, and our endocannabinoid system is more balanced with that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us, Brian. It's been a pleasure, my friend. Your wife ran away already. You're probably getting hungry by now.
Well, yeah, but anyways, thanks for having me.
You bet, man.
Pleasure meeting you.
You as well.
Speaking of hungry, I'm going to use that as an exit cue myself because I'm
Go
super
ahead.
hungry.
Yeah,
I'll come
go
back
ahead.
and catch up with you guys
Yes.
a little later. Thanks
Okay.
for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Awesome. How's it going?
Good. Grab a headset. Sit down, throw the headset on, and then we'll get you a mic. There you go, young lady. And introduce yourself.
I am Nina Atkinson-Tier. I am founder and CEO of Canna Ed at Home.
Okay, cannabis. So cannabis education.
Yeah.
Have you met Kayla?
No, but I heard her talk this morning and I wanted to connect with her the whole day.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Oh, I love this. Tell us more about what you do, Nina.
Yes, please.
So I run workshops for the everyday person that would go to the store and buy cannabis and then they don't know what to do with it from there. They think all that they can do is smoke it. They've heard maybe they can make something with it, and that's what we do. We teach them how to take that legal flower or flower that they're growing and turn it into edibles, topicals, oils, dog treats, things, all different things that they can use. And I really encourage everybody to start growing. Whole plant is so important.
Yes.
So we also offer growing classes as well.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Organic or hydroponic?
Hydroponic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't like it because I'm all organic.
Aw.
Actually, I like. But believe me, understand this: that if you're growing with biology, if you're in hydroponics, your plant is growing. It's the biology that actually builds each cell in the plant. So you're actually growing with biology.
Isn't that
so
cool?
don't let anybody tell you you're not. It's just what you're feeding. It's like what you feed your own body is so important. Well, what you're feeding your plant is that important as well.
It is. I would agree with that. It is super important. My lovely and supportive husband has always been my grower. We've always joked he's the grower and I'm the cook in the kitchen.
Oh, I love that. We had to stop growing when our 2 children, we have a 5 and a 2-year-old, and we're like, okay, who lives? The children or the plants? But then it just became this really disappointing process of I want my plants to be nice, and I just I don't have the capacity. So we've stepped back a little bit from that right now.
You'll get back to it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I love when you're teaching people how to grow, there's so much more respect for the plant. They're watching this magnificent plant grow, and it's something so beautiful about that. Yes, and making your own medicine, that is a profound process to teach somebody.
It's incredible, and it's incredibly rewarding in just when they're sitting in the classes, and all they've told me is that they know THC and they know CBD.
Yeah,
that's all they've heard of, and so then I can really break that down for them and explain to them that there's so much more to it and how that interacts with their body, and seeing those beautiful aha moments when they find out about the endocannabinoid system and how that works, and
Yeah.
CB1 receptors and CB2, and the homeostasis within the body, and questioning their own health and what more
Yeah.
they can do. And it's really incredible. And I've been so blessed to
So,
have
what
the knowledge.
question would you ask Kayla?
You listened to her speak this morning. So, what question would you want to ask her that you had thought of this morning but couldn't think to ask her then?
Oh my goodness, there's probably a long list.
Do you mind, Kayla?
No, not at all. No.
I'll let you guys talk. I'm gonna sit over here.
I did just write a whole nursing program, so it's all like in there. Hopefully.
I was just saying to my husband that I think that it would be absolutely wonderful to take your course and learn even more. I studied at Mount Royal, which was wonderful.
Yes.
And I've had 10 years of my own cooking and treating myself, because I came into this industry as a patient.
Yep,
And
me
I
too.
was on a long list of pharmaceuticals, and they told me I would soon be in a wheelchair. And I found cannabis. One glorious day, an amazing woman brought it into my
Yeah.
life, and it worked. And
No.
so then from there on, I was able to start learning and, all of this whole process. And so, I guess one of the things I would want to ask you is, what age and demographic of people are coming to you the most? Like, I know this morning you talked about the 20-year-old, but what are you seeing more of, or is there?
I would say most of my population that I'm working with would be like 40 plus. And so we do know from the Cannabis Act review that the older age group are the ones that are coming to cannabis, like the fastest growing cannabis consuming group. And so we're looking at like a lot elderly, or like when we look at the statistics, they really reflect how complex these individuals are coming to medical cannabis. And I created the practice based on what I wished I would have had when I came to medical cannabis, right? Like, what if for yourself, if you had a nurse to sit there and guide with you, right? When you're coming there, and typically for myself, it was my last resort. Like, nothing else was working for my sleep. I had lost a baby over my insomnia. And so here I was, unknowing what to do. I knew I didn't want to be back on my pills. And luckily my husband had been a rec user for a long time. And believe me, I had hated it so much before I used it.
Yes.
And my husband, am I allowed to swear on here, Ken?
Oh, yes.
Okay. He remembers after, it's been like weeks, like almost a month of no sleep, and I'm grieving and all this stuff. And he remembers me walking out of the bedroom going, "Roll me a fucking joint." And he goes, "On it." And that was my introduction to the plant. And then I went into the medical cannabis world, and we drove to Calgary, so 4-hour drive to get my medical document. But it was overwhelming. And luckily my husband had this rec knowledge to guide me. And then once I started to feel better, I started educating. He's like, "How do you know more about cannabis than I do now?" So yeah, just wanting to, be what I wished I would have had, or what you would have had. And so journeying with these really complex individuals now, it becomes a lot less complex, believe it or not, when we start to meet those baseline human needs: sleep, pain, and mood regulation. Like, it's amazing. And it's just watching them improve their quality of life is something, like being able to say I'm a nurse and I love my job, it's something I'll never take for granted.
That's pretty incredible. My mom is also a nurse, and so I understand the everything that job brings. I don't even know if there's one word that can describe it other than maybe really, really hard. really hard.
It's an absolute adventure, I'll call it, because there's like huge high points and huge low points. But now where I'm in this space, watching people heal, or I wouldn't even say heal, because healing's a lifelong journey, right? Even if we consume cannabis, our healing's not over, right? So, but watching people get on this journey, watch it become this big catalyst for change in their life, like, there is nothing more rewarding than that.
Oh, it's so
to be
wonderful.
a steward of this plant, right?
It's so wonderful. It's so incredibly great to be able to guide people and show them and have them with the follow through, and then it happens, and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, like for people to understand that CBD takes more than 2 tries to work.
Yeah, you need to give your body a few weeks.
Yeah, that buy-in, right? Support them for that buy-in. And I always tell them, over time, this plant will win you over, I promise. But you need to give it time. You need to give it, you need to just have an open mind, and it's okay if you're cautious about it. That's fine. I said, she'll win you over. Don't worry. But it's okay to be hesitant. It's okay.
Yes, definitely.
It is.
Especially the older generation, because we have the stigma, and conquering that stigma is a lot especially bringing it into the nursing community, that the nurse is going to be able to communicate to the patient. The doctor never could because he can't spend enough time.
No, absolutely. And that's filling that gap. And
Yes.
within that gap too, the first place we start, we don't just start talking about the endocannabinoid system, it starts talking about the history of cannabis. So we can take that time to start to explore our stigmas in and around cannabis. And even as a consumer, people still have their own stigma about it. And so being able to kind of let them absolve that stigma and take time to have conversation in and around it and really understand cannabis history, I think is such an important starting point.
Yeah.
And that's where my program starts, is a deep dive into the history of cannabis. And that's a mission. Anything I do, it starts with the history of cannabis typically.
Kayla, so how old is the cannabis plant?
6,000 to 10,000 years. We don't even know its original origin. They think some southeastern mountains likely in Asia, but we don't even really know. Did you echo that?
Yeah, definitely, because, and that's, when did she split away from the hops plant? There's so much we don't know that we really need to. And I think for a lot of people, that research is some of the things that just drives them forward. It was like why you got into cannabis and why your husband went, how can you know more than I do already?
The fire was lit.
Exactly.
There was no stopping that.
And it was the pain relief. It was the being able to sleep. And the quality of life was back. And it's like, okay, what just happened to me, and how can I help myself and others?
Yeah, absolutely. And once that starts, it's amazing when you can align with passion and where your life can go.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
it truly is. And like you, my husband was my greatest supporter. And I remember, I'll never forget that morning after I had smoked this devil's lettuce. And I was like, oh, I don't know, but okay, I'll sure. And so that night I slept. And when I woke up, and at that point I had not slept a full night's sleep for, well over a year.
Oh,
and so I was losing my brain and big time and in so much pain. And so I got up that morning and I was in the greatest mood, and I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking and I'm going on about how, oh my gosh, that new round of meds is working and blah, blah, blah. And he's just standing there and he's like, yeah. And he goes, are you done? And I went, eh? He goes, are you done? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, it wasn't any meds. It was that joint you smoked last night. And I went, no.
Couldn't be that.
No. And I was really in denial, and it was him who went and got the bag, and that time very illegal, and rolled me the joints and said, you're going to smoke a joint every single night for the next couple of weeks, and we're going to see what happens. And wouldn't you know, I got better and better and better. And then it was really devastating for me because I was so excited about this plant and what it was doing for me, and that I was getting better. And so I went to my doctor, and at the time, I got to adjust these headphones. Falling off me.
Okay, well, we'll just keep talking more. It's the sunglasses, right?
That's what I've got both going on here.
Yeah, you're looking at the sky right now. Okay.
And I was so excited to share with him what I had found, and that I was sure he was going to give me a prescription. And I went in, and Jeff and I went together, and he told me that what I had done was dangerous. It was irresponsible. That I was a mother, and how dare I put my children at risk bringing that kind of plant into my home. And he made me feel about an inch tall.
Yep.
And Jeff had some choice words for him.
I'm sure, yeah.
And as we left, he said to me, he goes, here's your regular prescription, and I'm going to prescribe you a new pill. It's a THC synthetic pill that we've made.
Oh,
since you enjoy getting high so much, go ahead and take this with your regular meds. It should do it for you. And I tell you what, guys, I went home and I felt like the lowest of low. And I stayed in bed for 3 days. I cried and I cried and I cried. And it was that man who pulled me out of bed and said, no, that doctor is not God. And he does not get to decide. And I have watched you get better. And we are going to do this with or without him.
Yes.
And we did. And here we are, 10 years later. And they told me I would be in a wheelchair. They told me I wouldn't walk. They told me all of these things. And because of this incredible plant, I am so grateful. And so that's, I'm so excited that the space has changed and I can offer these
Yes.
education classes and keep them extremely affordable and attainable, and those extra, steps that unfortunately are missing, those links of people who don't want to go to the medical side for whatever reason. And I've heard a long list of reasons of why they don't want to go to the medical side. So at
Mhm.
least I can help them to choose the right cannabis in the recreational space, to be able to make those choices, and then how to process it out in their own homes safely, effectively, with the right dosing for what they need, and giving that back, this 10 years of knowledge. And it's also really cool, can I say, to also be in a space finally where I can say, yeah, I've got 10 years of knowledge. I've been doing this a long time. And people are like, it's only been legal for 4. I'm like, and?
Yeah, it's called the legacy market. That was before your guys in your legal market, right?
So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and I'm very excited. And what a welcoming community. What an incredibly embracing community. I love that there is space for everybody here, and we just help each other, which, wow, I don't know that there's another industry out there like it.
There isn't.
Yeah.
There isn't. I mean, actually, the whole world should be like this. It's what it's supposed to be like. We got sidetracked by some crazy nut bars, and we're just gonna have to come back from that. And it starts with us.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. Like you telling your story.
Yes.
That changes stigma.
It does.
Yeah. You being here not in a wheelchair changes stigma.
Yes.
And that's something I get to witness on a daily basis now, is hearing those outcomes and like being able to sit with somebody, talk about the endocannabinoid system, what cannabis could potentially do for them, and they go, wow, I have some hope again. But they're scared to hope. And I said, you know what?
Been let down so many times.
Yeah, and so just meeting them where they're at, telling them it's okay, or like I see a lot of clients who finally feel better, and they're like, I want to be really happy, but I'm actually really mad. Like they're going through a grief process of why didn't I have this sooner? But that's okay. Move through that grief process, because the only way we can get to that joy on the other side is moving through it. And sometimes you just need permission to move through it.
Yes,
and it's
that's
okay
right.
that you're not jumping for joy right now. It might take you a while to believe that, okay, actually I am out of pain, or like that my pain is manageable. I like how you said my pain is always going to be here.
Yes.
And it always is, but can we push it to the back so it's not eating up all your capacity in life, right?
Yeah.
Where it's not that, I have this little tiny bit of capacity left, so that one time that kid looks at me wrong, I'm screaming at them. I need to be on like an intervention show on TV. So then I just tell them, let's just make your capacity this much longer.
Yes, exactly.
You're still allowed to get mad, but it's just not to that degree anymore. So
Yeah.
So this course that you've designed, is it specifically just for nurses, or is anybody kind of in the industry or in the space, is it catered to them, or how does it work?
It's a great question. So right now the program that is launched to the kind is you do have to have a nursing license to take that program, and they become a certified holistic cannabis nurse. But that being said, we've heard from so many people like in the allied health space and people in the industry that they're like, I want to take something like that. Starting in the fall, we're going to take the nursing lens off of it, and we'll offer it through the cannabis nurses for the general public, working towards like a standardized level of cannabis education, and in a way that we can start having these conversations about like, how do I know when I'm talking to somebody about cannabis that they could actually really benefit from a nurse at this point? Like, is it those people that have those more complex conditions, lots of specialists? I send a lot of letters to doctors.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of like changed perspectives because of it, where I have my clients going in and I'll write a letter saying, hey, this is how you fill out a medical document. This is why they need it, why they want to use it, and what we're going to kind of work towards. And then they really don't face what you faced.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit that you face that, and it's not okay. And it's actually like, if you look into all of what doctors are supposed to be and who they are, that doesn't fit that picture at all. But yeah, just trying to like help prevent that and be really loud patient advocates.
Yes.
Really loud. I speak in November at one of our bigger hospitals here in the city at the like healthcare nurses and doctors symposium for a few days, and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait.
I'm going to tell you guys some truths you don't want to hear.
Totally, but it's not going to start talking about cannabis. It's going to start about talking about the endocannabinoid system. How did we discover it? How is that like linked into the history and prohibition of cannabis? And like really bring a different perspective.
And that's what it is. It's a different perspective that they've never really heard before because they're not taught that. But then neither will the nurses until you designed this course, young lady.
Well, it's a start, but like my students submit a reflection about cannabis stigma before and after they learn about the history of cannabis.
Right.
And one of my students reflected that they told one of their colleagues in this city here in an emergency department that they were taking a cannabis nursing program. And his response was, what, you guys like sit around and smoke dope and talk about how it makes you feel? So the stigma is still incredibly present. And the thing is healthcare's got to get over it because every single one of them has interacted with somebody using cannabis.
Even if they don't know it.
Well, and a lot of them don't talk about it. 1/3 of patients don't tell their providers because of the experience you had. Why would you tell your provider about it, right?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot more of the insurance companies in that starting to move towards actually, paying for it. Once that comes into effect, then the doctor's going to have to learn because then they can make money from it.
It's all about money in the end, isn't it?
In their world, yes.
It really, truly is. And ultimately, it'd be beautiful to be able to share my work in a way because it shows that it saves actually a ton of money. Like my clients I'm working with are deferring a lot of other services like chairlifts because they can walk up their stairs. You don't have quality of life riding a chairlift.
Are you keeping the data points? Because those data points of what they were supposed to be, what they were costing, what their insurance company isn't paying. If you're keeping that, you can send that to the insurance company and go, guys, why are you paying for this? This is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and my line of work that I'm doing is pretty specialized within that. So it's time. It's time.
Yes.
It's slow, insidious change. One person with better quality of life at a time. And hopefully we will see that reflected sooner than later.
I think we're going to, because I know my aunt, she's up in her 90s, and she gets cannabis paid for by the government and all through the insurance. Right, so that's what I think is what's going to happen eventually. Is the insurance companies are going, we can't afford your drugs anymore. Where this is a lot healthier, because that's where it is a lot around the world, not so much in North America, but a lot of the places where they've been using cannabis for years, they don't have the problems we do, and it's because of the health of their endocannabinoid systems.
And potentially the environments that they're living in that support the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
We live in a world that is 100% into dysregulating your system, right? So that environment factor is such a big piece of our health and the health of our endocannabinoid system as well.
Yeah. And that's where, it's beautiful to find that most growers, after they've been growing cannabis, start to grow their own food because they want healthier stuff than what they're getting, because they start to understand that it's not healthy. And that's where we really need to push on the education as well. And I love what you guys are doing. Do you guys do any events? Are you setting up actual events, or is it just a one-to-one consultations, or how do you guys work that system?
So we just started, launched in January, and we've been working on these group workshops, having in my home or in the patient's home. There are a lot of people that have come to me and said, I'm really interested.
Cannabis Tupperware party comes to mind.
Yes, exactly like that.
We do something like that already.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Why did that not surprise me, Kayla? Okay.
We do a modern, it's called Cannaware. We're just sending it in for trademark, but a modern day Tupperware party for the canna curious, canna consuming woman.
Yes.
And
That's
because
beautiful.
I'm a nurse and my business partner, who's not here right now, is a rec therapist, we can usually find a place in their benefits to put our services through, either health spending or in-home nursing services. And we're providing them like group education about the endocannabinoid system. And typically that started because my one-on-one clients were like, all my friends are asking. All my friends, especially the ones with perimenopause, like these different struggle points, especially in women's lives. And they're like, well, all my friends want to know. And I said, we'll throw you a party.
Yeah.
And then we came up with this, and we have like a evidence-based, like 40-page beautiful education guide they take home. We partner with a dispensary so that we can help them choose product, and that they can go home with products, know how to dose them, feel confident in it, and ultimately it all links into something we call the Canna Queen Uprising. So it's like the modern day women sort of understanding how their endocannabinoid systems, how cannabis works, so they become empowered, educated, unapologetic users of cannabis, knowing that we're ultimately defying stigma, which is in racism, patriarchy, and greed. your
Uh-huh.
consumption, and that I truly believe that it will be these individuals that destigmatize cannabis. It's not your federal legalization. It's going to each individual and saying, well, I really suffered with sleep at this part in my life too, and you know what, I use cannabis now.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, we always see you in our kids pickup line at school with your kids, like you're you're a functioning member of society. Like, what?
Imagine that.
And then all of a sudden we see these waves of change starting to happen.
Yes.
More people are
Yeah.
curious. More people are trying to access good products because we teach them what a good product is. What is full
Yeah.
spectrum? Why does it matter? And all of those pieces. And yeah, it's been a really fun thing to do. And yeah, I would love doing it. So
Well, yeah, and you guys both are doing basically a similar thing with the education. You've taken it to a level where it really needs to go on the regulation side because it's an authentic course that you get a certified diploma, I guess would be their term?
a certificate. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you get a certificate. So, and then for you, what you're doing, it's more people like me that it's coming to you and going, like, help. I don't have any idea what's going on.
Yeah, or have heard that their uncle Larry's friend made some oil and it like helped him and his knee doesn't hurt anymore. So how do I do that? And I'm like, oh, let me show you. And it's been great, in terms of like the home parties, having people, come and they say, oh, I'm really interested in your workshop, but I don't know about being in a room with a group of other people, regardless of whether they're like-minded or not. So that's where I'll come to your house. And then it turned into, well, can Frank come? And what about Bill? And, Larry kind of wants to come too and make sure he's making it right. And I'm like, yes, let's do it,
Yeah.
And so it just turns into this really great sense of community where these people who have questions can come together and feel really comfortable in their own home.
And that nourishes the endocannabinoid system, healthy socialization.
Uh-huh.
You're doing it right there. Everybody's leaving with more anandamide.
Yes.
More bliss in multiple ways.
Absolutely. So it's been wonderful. And then doing the workshops, we are moving out of my home and into a space, which is fabulous. And that'll be in September. Of course, with just doing this kind of feasibility study, figuring out was there truly a market here? Are people really, truly wanting and needing this information? And so I was very excited to, find out that my studying at Mount Royal University wasn't going to go to waste, that I could take that and develop some of my own class workshop material. And, just really kind of, I hate to say this, but it might not be the most politically correct, but dumbing it down. These huge concepts, being able to bring them down, to a really human level and apply them in a way that people understand and can use day to day and be able to make informed choices. One of the biggest sources of frustration for these people, and again, a lot of them should be in the medical side of things, but they want to stay on the rec side, is teaching them how to read the packaging.
Huge.
Like
huge.
understand
That's a whole module.
it really is, right? And then also being able to, say to them, the terpenes matter.
Yeah.
They're not,
Absolutely.
they're really important.
Educated consumers.
Yeah.
Then they can help shape our market.
Right. And again, that all plays a part in ending that stigma.
Oh, it's so good you're just so passionate. You can hear that and feel that.
Yeah, well, I'd be damned if a doctor ever tells me again.
But then it's the education. You've got it, and you can share it.
Yeah.
Kayla, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Ken.
You better run away, and I'm sure there's something else you're supposed to be doing other than just socializing with me.
No, it's all good. I should get back to my boys here pretty quick.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much. As I
Thanks
said.
for having me.
You
It
bet.
was so nice to chat with you.
And you can stick around if you want. Corey, let's grab some more people.
Ken, I would love to stick around, but I
You're
do
gonna
have
take-
to run. I have to take
Oh,
off.
wow.
I'm
And your husband took off, so
Yeah, he's waiting there giving me the
Oh,
old,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
hey.
Yeah, let's go eat, honey. I'm hungry. Come on.
He knows I can just stay and chat all day.
Okay, well, we're here all day again tomorrow, so you're welcome to come back.
Fabulous. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
You
Take
bet.
care.
Okay, thank you. And as we get set up with another couple of ladies, we have Ashley and Brooke over here. Can you hear me, Ashley?
Yes, I can.
And Brooke,
Hi.
how are you ladies today?
We are good.
So tell me a little bit about yourselves and what you guys are here for. Are you vendors?
Yeah, we are artists. Yeah, so we're all at a booth together here.
Oh, and that would be the Dope Queen booth.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't had much of a chance to look over there, but my wife was absolutely loving what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, we're bringing a lot of color to the booth for sure. So Dope Queen, I'll talk a little bit about Dope Queen first because she's not here. But yeah, she is selling her apparel. She grows her own weed, that kind of stuff. So yeah, but she's got beautiful merchandise there that she sells, and she does like lots of pop-up shops and that kind of stuff. So
in the local Edmonton area?
Yeah, you bet. And she's really active with the community, and she's a very good person to know. And she's got lots of followers and that kind of stuff. So yeah, Dope Queen is a good person to know.
Okay. And so that's she's not here, but hopefully we can grab her tomorrow.
Yeah.
So what's your guys' side of this?
So so we have 3 businesses happening in this booth. So
only 3?
Yeah,
Come
only 3.
on, guys.
So she invited us to be with her today and tomorrow. So I am Ashley with Illustrious Interiors. This is Brooke with Moss Art Yang. So what I do, I've been painting custom murals. I do interior design and custom murals.
Sweet.
So I do the large scale murals, working with a lot of retailers.
A lot of pot leaves?
Yeah, I paint them all. I've been in a bunch of different retailers needing pot leaves and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're really helping different retailers get on brand, right? Using their paint can be used with anything. You can create any kind of art. Yes. And so having that large scale captivating piece when you're walking in is so important. And to be memorable as opposed to looking like every other store.
In interior design, your wall colors, there's a lot of, my wife used to run a mall, and there's a magazine that comes out that says use this color. It's like an advertising a billboard.
Yeah.
You don't subconsciously actually see it until you've seen it 7 times.
Right.
And then your subconscious brings it to the core. That's all part of marketing, and color and design and drawing you in is I'm into it, baby.
Yeah, it is so important. And right now what's so popular too is the Instagrammable walls. Right, where people
okay, hold on. What Instagrammable walls?
Yes. So
explain.
What people are doing is they're wanting to take pictures in front of large scale art, large scale murals, so that they have a beautiful backdrop for their pictures. Right, something that's going, holy cow! Like, where are you?
Okay,
right?
So this reminds me of a wedding, and the bride and groom want to go to that right spot to get. Yes. Okay. And you're doing that in their buildings.
Yes, inside their buildings, on the outside, doing the exterior walls, that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're really making it like it's a good marketing strategy, right?
Well,
for people that so now, Rebecca, for example, she goes and takes a picture with this beautiful backdrop, and now all of her friends are going, "Where are you?" And like, "Where is this?" And now she's letting them know, and now people are wanting to be there and they're wanting to experience it, right? It's more than just art; it's an experience too.
Okay, have you guys got music in here yet? Like, we got art and everything.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the places where I have painted murals, they do bring in different musicians and do live art and stuff too, which is pretty cool. So then going into murals, last year, year before, I met Brooke, and I saw all of her beautiful moss work online. I'm like, holy cow, is she ever good? I loved her presence, I loved her style, and I reached out to her and I said, hey Brooke, and I said, I know you do a lot of moss art. I said, would you ever be willing to come and put moss in my murals?
Oh, sweet.
And she said yes. And so we made this collaboration happen. And so now we offer moss murals as well. And yes, it is 3D art. Nobody else does this. There are different muralists out there. There are different moss artists out there. But there's nobody that does the combination of both.
Oh, sweet. Okay. You guys are like a match made in moss.
It honestly was like, it felt so right and it felt so organic. And I thought, there's nobody else that I would want alongside with me doing something like this.
Now-
It's a lot of work.
I have a silly question. Okay, so how are you keeping your moss alive, or is it
Oh,
a
yeah.
short term?
Let Brooke talk about this one.
Oh, because you got water pumps, etc.
No, all of my moss is real, but it's
Yes.
been preserved. So it's
Okay.
going to no longer need any watering, no sunlight, no
Okay.
trimming.
Okay.
It's perfect on its own. Like it'll last you up to 10 years just in
Sweet.
this condition. And then
Yeah,
after
yeah.
that, it just may start to fade. But the quality's going to be there for a lifetime.
Oh,
yeah.
It feels like it's alive. Like
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
you would think that it's wet, but it's
Well,
not.
how have you stopped the biology from carrying on?
So it's been preserved with a food grade glycerin, which is different than some artists. They could use a dried moss, which is going to crumble and deteriorate
Well,
over
yeah,
time.
powders, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
with this, it's food grade glycerin, which will keep it being soft and fleshy and
Nice,
yeah, it'll just
nice.
last.
Because a lot of the other moss that you see, it over time it just crumbles.
Well, yeah, it
and
just turns to
whatever.
powder.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
and it's no good. Like that does not happen with this. It's unbelievable.
It's like it stays
Yeah.
alive and
Yeah.
fresh with
Yeah.
what the product that you're using to stabilize it with.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it's everything that I get is straight from Vancouver. So I
Okay.
stay within Canada and supporting within here. And
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. Like I'll have to take some shots of your stuff so I can put it up later when we redo, because I'll be pulling a bunch of stuff out from the weekend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll definitely want to get some
There's
some
a
still
lot
shots.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I haven't had a chance really to wander
walk
the event.
around.
Yeah, I lost my other host. He kind of disappeared on me. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
But well, thank you guys so much. What
thank
else? How can people find you?
Oh yeah, so we are all over Instagram, all over
Okay.
Facebook.
But
So
all over doesn't give me a name that people
yeah,
can type
here we
in.
go. Ready? Yeah. So Illustrious Interiors. So you can find me on Instagram. So at Illustrious ILLUSTRIOUS _interiors with an S.
Okay. So you're gonna give
Yeah.
me that information
Yeah,
so that I
yeah.
can put it into the description.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
And then she's Moss Art Yeg, so it's at
Yeah.
_Moss Art Yeg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like a sommelier, right? You just that perfect mix of art and pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you say you're doing quite a bit of cannabis leaves. Have you done cannabis yet?
I have found a supplier with real preserved cannabis leaves, and I'm
Okay.
just in the works with that. So I'm hoping
Sweet.
that we can start actually using real preserved cannabis leaves in the work. Yeah.
And see how if it stays like the moss does, because there's a different cell structure to the cannabis
Yeah,
leaf.
I use a lot of preserved ferns right now, and
Okay.
they'll last for
Okay,
quite a
cool.
long time too. Yeah, so I'm
Oh,
happy to see
fantastic.
what the leaves do.
Yeah, and like you can get some pretty nice looking fan
Oh,
leaves.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had some bigger than my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like when you, like lots of times when you're looking at the stuff, you're like, oh, this must be fake, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
preserved. This is
Yeah,
a real
yeah.
plant. It's so cool.
Well, when I was growing up, it was like they had the encyclopedias, and you would pick, leaves, and you
Oh,
would put them in.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
And that's how we did it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You guys are a little bit younger than me, so you got new technology, right?
Yeah. I love it.
So, what other events are you guys going to be at locally, do you think, the next little while?
This is our first big event, and we were really excited to be here.
Yes.
I've done a few markets locally, but honestly, we're
Like
we're
St.
really,
Albert Market?
Yeah, we've done things
Yeah.
like that, but we're really enjoying the commissions and the custom work that we're doing
Yeah,
within
yeah.
the city, and we're hoping to start expanding
So
into
how
BC.
are you drawing in your customers? Just off of Instagram?
Yeah,
mostly,
Instagram, Facebook, email,
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of stuff, and it's just
word of mouth.
Word of mouth is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Oh, and then it's when the people tell the other person, yes, you want these ladies.
Yes.
They're going, okay.
Not
you-
only that,
I'm
but
trusting you.
Yes, but our stuff is so visual that when people see it, they say,
In
"I
public.
need to know." Exactly, it's
yeah.
public. Like I have murals in Kingsway Mall, St. Albert Center. I
Sweet.
have them outdoor murals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this stuff, and it's so visual, and people are like, "I need to be a part of this. I need to have some of
Yes.
this." So that's and it just kind of expands from there.
And you're beautifying the city and
Yes.
everything else, and that's
Yeah.
wonderful. So, you have it inside Kingsway Mall. What did
Yeah.
you design in there?
So that one, they're actually it kind of was like a universe piece where I
Okay.
painted a globe. I had gold foil within the globe, the earth,
Right.
and two hands coming towards it. And so for me, when I initially painted it, it was going to be just more than a miracle. It was
Okay.
just, everything's working for you. Everything's working with the universe. And then, it just developed from there. And it was so interesting that while I was painting it, people were walking by and they're going, some people were teary-eyed and they were just
Yeah.
like, this really speaks to me. And, and it meant something different for every single person.
Well, we all have different eyes, right?
Yes, because art, like it can mean
Yeah.
something to so many different people. So then what I did was I invited the public to use a paint pen and write what the mural meant to them inside the arms and the hands of the mural.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, and so then it would just had a little piece of everybody, and it was I have a picture of it right here actually.
Okay.
I'm going to show you it. Here we are.
Oh,
That's what it looked like there.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to actually go like this. And let's see if we can make this work.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
Ooh, yeah. I'm at a little bit of an angle. There we
Yeah.
go. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
and then after that, it was initially named More Than a Miracle, and I had no intentions of having the arms written in like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once I started hearing everybody's, perspectives on it, and I was like, this means more than just what I think it means.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
then it was called A Deeper Perspective. And then that's
Oh,
what the mural was
beautiful.
named. And it was because it was deeper than any meaning that I even had for it. It meant so much more to a lot of people. So it's just stuff like that where I'm like, this is art speaks to everybody.
Oh,
and it
and
can
differently.
speak to differently. And it's so incredible to see what something like that can do for somebody else.
Exactly. And beauty touches people in so many different ways. And when you see those two hands in that globe and the world coming together,
Yes.
it's just, where are you in your understanding of how things work?
Yeah.
And that's your different perspective.
Yeah.
Two people can stand at the same accident scene and they'll record it totally different from
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Right? And I love that the people were able to join in and put their perspective down.
Yeah,
That's
it
beautiful.
was just like, it just came to me. I'm like, I have to do this. Like, it's just amazing.
Intuition?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I believe
yeah.
in intuition and following your gut and,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and everything works out. So,
And you, young lady, you're into grounding because you work with moss all day.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
the energy flow of you ladies is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was a match made in heaven for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I can tell that you guys are going to go a long, long way, and it's just going to keep going and carrying on.
Yeah.
And you said you were going to be going into Vancouver as well now?
Well, we're hoping. Yeah,
You're
we're,
hoping.
you know what? We've got the international list on the bucket list. We're manifesting that. We're hoping that.
And write
something's
it
gonna
down,
happen.
and you just
Yes.
you plan it out, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're here already.
Yeah,
we just did these little sections.
Yeah, being
wanted
here
to
was
be
huge
here,
for us.
yes.
We wanted
Yes.
to be here.
This was on the list, and we're here.
Yeah.
And how are you guys enjoying the grow up?
Oh my gosh, amazing. Everybody's so wonderful and so kind. Yeah, it's been a really, really beautiful and breathtaking how,
it's beautiful
how beautiful
here.
it is in
Where
here.
are you guys from? Where are you from?
Well, we are
obviously
from-
you're from
yeah,
Edmonton.
yeah.
If you're getting all here in
Yeah.
Edmonton, so
Yeah, but
Yeah,
just the
we're
setup, they just did so well with everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it just flows. I haven't had much chance to go
I
wandering
know.
around.
Yeah,
but-
we haven't either.
But there's Dale Rook. This is my other host,
Oh.
and the guy deserted me for the whole day. Like he sat here for
He was
how long,
getting to
Dale?
walk around, check
I
it all
know,
out. Yeah.
but I want to walk around
Yeah.
too. Love you, bro.
What? What's that?
You're in charge of your phone. Oh, well, then why don't you come in here and sit down and help me talk to these wonderful young ladies? Dale's being lazy for you guys out there. He's standing on the other side of the camera going, oh, you're doing a hell of a good job. I'm too stoned. You just keep going. I can't hear a word you're saying without a microphone in your hand, Dale. You're going to go for a smoke.
We're gonna go for a smoke.
Okay, but you're always going for smokes. Man. Okay. Enjoy. And you know what, Dale? He's a longtime seed breeder,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and he's got some strains that just wow.
Yeah.
So like your art, it's next level, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So how did you get into this? Like, where did you learn your art, and especially where the hell did you learn to do this moss stuff?
COVID, you're stuck in the house and you want to get outside, but you can't. So I'm like, how can I bring this indoors? But I do not have a green thumb. Like, I can't keep anything alive. So preserved moss art was the way to go. And
Cool.
I started 2.5 years ago, and now I'm here.
And where would you learn that to preserve
I did
moss?
study
You-
interior
university-
design.
Okay, I thought maybe it was University YouTube.
No. So I had a tiny, little bit of, but it's mostly just being creative. It's just mostly
Okay.
having an eye for wanting to do something creative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's seeing it in your mind.
Yeah,
And you're going,
that's the hardest
can
part.
do
Yeah,
that.
getting it
Yeah.
into real life.
and that's where art and it's like music. It just it can flow out of you,
for
right?
sure, yeah. I've been painting art my whole life since I could hold a paintbrush. I
Okay.
always had that creative knack, and I've come from a long line in my family who have been very creative themselves. Not so much on the painting side, I would say, but that was just what I was very drawn to was painting.
Right, yeah.
And
And you gotta
murals.
follow
though,
that what
yes.
you're drawn to, right?
Yeah, before this, I was in a completely different line of work, and then it was a very drastic change.
Right.
And but yeah, I started painting murals, and then that took off on its own. It blew up, and I was initially I opened up my business 5 years ago, and just wanting to do interior design, home staging,
Right,
and then I painted a couple murals for my designs,
Yeah.
and people were like, "Wait a minute, you can paint this?" And they're like, "I want this in my house. I want this in my business."
Sweet.
And now it's like 90% of the business that I do. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of it fell into place, and I love it so much. Like gosh,
It's your
I feel
heart.
so grateful to be
Yeah.
able to do something that I love every day and get paid
Yes.
for it. You know?
That's always the
That's the
bonus,
bonus.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are you guys? Like I'd asked if you're going to any other events because we have this event again in Victoria.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So and then what kind of events are you guys looking for? Because Dale actually he's going to be doing a weekly show coming up. I'm not sure, probably the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Talking about events and what's happening in the cannabis industry on our channel.
Oh, so yeah, this would be really good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, it's all those events. Like, have you guys heard of Camp Canna? The
That one
Unicorn
sounds
Cup.
familiar. Yeah. Not that one.
pretty sure.
Camp Canna
Yeah.
is in Pine Lake, Alberta, so just outside of Red Deer.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then the Unicorn Cup is in the Kootenays, out by Selmo, BC.
Oh wow! And you guys are going to be there for that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I actually am doing a talk on biology at Camp Canada.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm Shea LeBlanc. I think he's going to be here speaking tomorrow, and he's the creator of the Unicorn Cup.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This is all good information to know for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely be keeping in touch because then we can let you guys know where these different events are,
Yeah.
and then we can do this on a half-assed regular basis. You can take pictures of your
Right.
murals and come. This is the latest one, guys.
Yeah. Heck, we should be making a backdrop for people.
Well,
Those
you know,
Instagrammable walls.
You know, I don't have any banners because the crazy thing is, ladies, I actually I'm a patient, right? And so I'm supported by the government. And they don't pay very well.
Oh yeah,
Right?
for sure.
So yeah, banners, really nice ones, because I don't want some cheesy,
Yeah.
banner. I want something that's nice.
Yeah.
You know, they're $3-5 grand.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it's
Yeah.
like, and then somebody's saying, "Oh, just go to Vistaprint. They're like $30." Yeah, but is that quality? You know?
Yeah.
You get what you pay for.
Always.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we've
But-
learned that one.
Yeah, and like, well, you guys have, or the Dope Queen has a beautiful banner. Did you paint that, or?
No, she had that prior.
Okay.
We'll have to ask her where she got it from. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, maybe you'll have to upgrade her banner. You know.
Add a little moss to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope to see you guys at more events in the near future. There's the one in August, or rather, there's two in August. The Unicorn Cup happens first, and then after that, the next weekend is Camp Canna, and I know there's guys setting up events in Calgary. Canaskis. If you follow him on Instagram, he's setting up events in Calgary. I know we're trying to set up events. We're trying to set up a lot of events. So, it's getting the awareness out. Like, I'm all about the biology and how a cell actually divides, right? And so that's what I'm into. But we are into the cannabis end, and we're trying to bring education. And you, in a way, with the one work with the hands, you brought these people an education that they never thought they were going to have they looked at that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think I think everybody's just kind of calming down. I don't even know what time it is. I've been at this for, so 4:20. So I think,
how convenient.
why did that, is that karma or is that karma?
That's the universe, baby.
Yeah, so,
talking to you.
Guys, peace out on the live stream, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Hopefully we get started on time tomorrow morning. So you guys have a great night, and we will talk to you soon.